Okay, here we are again. Long time no see. Done with the first week of the second semester of classes. Went well, I think. Nothing too substantial. I mean, one of the classes is literally half of one of the classes I took last semester because it didn't count as a general stats class, the one I took last semester, so I get to take stats again this semester, and it's only one half of stats. Isn't that fun? But either way, yeah, went okay. I'm in good shape, I think. I've got a plan, got a game plan for how I'm going to handle it all, so I think we'll be good. I was just trying to wait until it was just about ready because it flipped over the last time, I think, on us and went back to the intro. I pressed it a little too late. But, yeah, we'll get started in just a couple of minutes. Learned something new about myself today. I didn't expect it either because they had create your own rice bowls in the lunchroom at school. And I said, yeah, okay, I'll take some rice. They had some jerk chicken, so I said, yeah, I'll take some jerk chicken. They said, what vegetables do you want? I said, I'll just, throw some corn in there. I'll throw in some carrots and some broccoli from the salad bar. It's all good. They had some cilantro in the middle. So he says, you want some cilantro on it? I says, well, I've never had cilantro before. Yeah, why not? Throw a little bit of it on there. So they threw a little bit of it on there. I load up the whole plate with some more veg, and then I go to eat it. Cut it all up, mix it all up real good. I put a little bit of, they had like this mushroom gravy at one of the stations, so I just put a little bit on top of it just to give it some emulsifying, I guess. It was an emulsifying agent to hold it all together so it wasn't dry as a bone going down my throat. Got a scoop of it, took a bite of it. Part of the cilantro was in that bite, and the whole thing tasted like soap. I'm one of those people, apparently. I was not aware of this beforehand, but I am one of those people where you take a bite of cilantro and all you taste is soap. So that was fun. Like 5 of the bites of that entire plate. And I mean, the plate was, packed well enough to where it was 5 bites wasn't a substantial amount of the food, but about 5 or 6 of the bites were just soap in my mouth. So that's real fun. But, I mean, now I know, right? I wouldn't have known this otherwise because I've never had cilantro in food before. So now I know, just don't put it in there. It's not really something that I enjoy personally, obviously, because I don't exactly like washing my mouth out with soap when I go to eat lunch. So, yeah, no, other than that, I think I'm in good shape. Like I said, I got a game plan, just like last semester, so should work out. Stream schedule, the way that it is, should work out. Going to bed early enough so I can actually get there. Should all work out. As for our wayward lessee, on the other hand, should it all work out? Let's see. The home that Fang and Vanille remember is a beautiful place surrounded by flowers and nature, but the herba that greets them after their long, perilous journey is a wasteland, covered in a layer of fine crystal dust. The hope they had been seeking vanishes like a desert mirage. Though they have turned their backs on their genocidal focus, the lessee's brands have not stopped advancing, and each passing second brings them closer to the moment of monstrous transformation. Herba, their last refuge of hope, is a hollow shell, devoid of life. Well, not devoid of life. There are people, quote-unquote, living there, but they're not exactly in good shape. But they must continue on. They must follow the road to its inevitable conclusion. Let's just hope that inevitable conclusion doesn't take us all back to Cocoon, even though I'm pretty sure we all know it's going to, because, well, bye-bye human race if we do. And on that lovely note, how you doing, everybody? Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIII, the stream edition. Last time, we finished almost all of Herba. We made our way through the rest of Tajin's Tower. We made it here. Found out it was a wasteland. I colored the place a little bit more dark and gruesome than it actually was shown on screen. And, well, I forget if these guys are more weak to physical or magical. I guess I'm gonna shoot him in the face. Oh yeah, I've got, never mind, I've got the, whatchamacallit on. I've got the, Blessed Talisman on because I think I established previously that they're more weak to, magical damage. So we're just gonna assume that that's correct. And, just keep going. Let Fang do her thing. And once we get to the end of the road here, we will, whatchamacallit? Just, we'll swap parties around. So that way we, can let Lightning and Snow do something. Vanille, I was gonna say get that before it goes away, but it's gonna go away too quickly, so. Alright, let's switch it up. And at this point, I can probably just attack physically. Because I don't have the whatchamacallit on. Saz, that looked like it probably would have hurt your back. Are you okay? that dead angle you just did with your back did not look so comfortable while you were turning the guns into the railgun, the assault rifle. I mean, I guess that gives us an excuse to not have him in the boss fight, right? Oh, I threw my back out! That's not how Saz's voice sounds. It's been so many days, I forgot what his voice sounds like. Apparently. Anyway. Oh, I hate this fight. Because it's, like, 4 weaklings, and I never get a 5-star on it because it's 4 weaklings, but they don't, like, AoE them down. Or maybe they do. Never mind. This Seeker. Oh, got rid of the other one. Have another friend. Yeah, I'll just go Fire, Thunder, Arrow. That should be enough to get rid of this guy. Oh, good. And Fang's still doing the AoE stuff. Nice. Maybe we got a 5-star on that one. I don't know. Yeah, okay. Usually I don't get a 5-star on that one because it takes too long to get them, but since Fang was doing the AoE, we actually made it. So that's nice. I do have a Sab Rav in here somewhere, right? Yeah, I do. Okay. Just making sure before we move along here. I forget, did I just, like, save up the CP and haven't, like, spent it on anything recently? I'll probably try to spend it the next time we, whatchamacallit, get to a save point. Because I think the next save point is the last one here in Airbus, so if we get there, then probably a good idea to just switch it up, you know. Alright, Vanille, let's finish the stagger off, hopefully. Not quite, I was going to say, so the Fang can get Deep Protect on, but we should have it done in just 2 seconds anyway, so. Go ahead, get Deep Protect on Fang, and then we'll swap to Aggression, and, start shooting! Should have him before too long here. Before he puts the inertial barrier back up. Because we definitely don't want that. That's not a good idea. I mean, all these Seath Tears will probably help, though. Alright, what were you hiding behind you here? You know, if I owned something called a Taming Pole, I'd probably want to hide it too, so fair play. What kind of weird fetish was that guy into when he was alive? Well, either way, it's a weapon for Fang. It's her stagger lock weapon. It's actually pretty good because she doesn't have a weapon that's normally... like, it's kind of like the Blaze Fire Saber or the Vegas, except it's a little stronger than both of them at the end of its road. I think it's at tier 2. It's like plus 350 to both. And Fang does a little bit of both, and she's pretty good at both. So, I mean, it can be pretty good. I think I missed one, actually. Let's go back and hope the Vital is not back. This box appears to have controlled a railroad switch. Thoroughly rusted, it would likely break if forced. That's if we could even get up there to force it, but, you know, probably not. It doesn't look like he's back. I think this rail car is the last. Well, it's second to last, but it'll be the last one that we look at. So, this railway may once have ferried people to distant destinations. Now it stands in ruin, its weather-worn cars strewn amidst the rubble. So there you go. And I don't know, it's funny though, because there's a train ride. I mean, there's train rides in Final Fantasy VII as well, but it doesn't really give me the same vibes as this. The game that this really gives me the same vibes as is Final Fantasy XV's train ride. But, I mean, I suppose at one point in development time, both of these games were in the same universe, so I guess it's not that surprising that the train ride kind of gives me that kind of a feeling. You gonna be able to get to me here, buddy? Yep. Good. I was concerned for a minute that I was gonna have to move for the both of you again. You know, that's actually pretty quick, honestly, that little method I did there. Instead of trying to do like fire, thunder, and then arrow, it's like, just go down to arrow once and then go back. It's easier, I think. 3,000 CP for just those two guys, though, is pretty nice. This way is where we're going. Just got to look at that objective marker, that arrow, the yellow arrow at the top there. That's usually a good indication of where you're supposed to go. Alright, this poor guy and his 3 kids are the last things standing in our way, so... Sorry, kids. Yeah, I guess do it again. So I was gonna say, we should get them in just a moment if we do that. Vanille's already cranking out the Blizzagas, so that'll help out. Alright, Fang, go ahead and grab the stuff for us while we get some other stuff going. The D-Shell, the Slow, the Curse. And then we'll go back. If I don't get Arrow good. Okay, well, I'm going up. Yep. That's okay. Switch again. And then off we go. I might go to Aggression after this, actually, though, honestly. I think it might go a little bit better if we do. Yeah, as we say. Get the cast off, so that way Fang can be done and start hers, so we can continue to stunlock the guy. There we go. Not bad at all. I think we actually will put all of these materials to use, though. Like, I only have one other thing that I actually want to... 2 other things, actually, that I actually want to use the materials that we have on hand for, rather than buying them. But, yeah, we'll talk about that once we get there. For now, that chest was an Ether Sol, so you know what that means, especially since the objective marker is right up there. There's also an active Seath Stone up there, but... Now, something tells me that one won't be active for a while, even though it says it's active. Alright, so we don't need anything from the shops for now, so let's get our party together for the actual boss fight. I'm going to use Snow for this one. I feel like he's probably the only one that really qualifies as, like, the one we should have do this fight, you know what I mean? Do I want to do Cerberus? No, I think I just want to do Aggression, honestly. And then we want to do a couple of synergist ones because I'm not going to actually use... Well, I'm going to use... we got a very fortuitous Fortisol last time, so I'm actually going to use that. So we do want a couple of synergist ones, though, because that way I can kind of, like, establish a couple of buffs. Because if we're going to use the Fortisol, we're not going to have, like, Protect or Shell or Veil or Vigilance. And Veil is really nice in this fight, so... we want to start there, so we're going to want to do, like, I guess like a Sab Rav, actually, because there's one point in this fight where we won't need Synergist anymore, but we will still need the Saboteurs, so let's do it that way, maybe do this, and then I guess we'll do... Send Med. I'm not really a big fan of playing Sentinel, but I won't really have to. That's pretty much just switch to that for the AoE defense boost, and then we can just, like, use Renew and move along with our lives, you know? So, actually, I might move Assassination up. to here, because then we can go to aggression, and then the part where we actually might want to reestablish debuffs is later in the fight, so then we can switch from here. Alright, so that's that. Does everybody have... Okay, so we'll give you the Whistlewind Scarf that I gave to Lightning. Oh, I had one. Okay, well, that's fine. Probably because... What do I have on Saz then? Oh, I've got him on the Sprint Shoes, that's why. Okay, that makes sense. And we'll leave all that stuff the way that it is for now. And then we'll go from there. Keep those 2 Ether Sols. They might be useful for something later. And I guess we'll just do that. Excuse me. What else have I got in here? Because I've got more things than I thought I would. Oh, no, I know what it is. Okay, it's because I've still got both of the Whistlewind Scarves. I might sell one of them just so that I can... Because if I'm going to use the Sprint Shoes anyway, I won't need 2 of them. Well, I will need 2 of them in the post-game, but I'm not doing the post-game on screen, so I don't think that's a huge loss if I get rid of it. Either way, let's do some leveling before we move along. Let's see, what was I working on for you, Snow? Come in! Probably Commando? Oh, hi. It's end of Chapter 11 day! Actually, it's not, because we're gonna finish the final boss of Chapter 11, but then we're doing missions, so it's not technically end of Chapter 11 day. Cole's here. Cole's neck is bothering him.
My neck isn't really bothering me. It's more like I just woke up from a nap that I didn't wake up from.
Ah, fun.
Don't take that out of context. I just felt like I just feeling like I need an extra hour of sleep.
Yeah, there are days like that where it's like, no, I definitely didn't get enough sleep. That's why, since it's the weekend now, I've been having to get up at about 6:30 in order to get to school, but since it's the weekend now, I turned my alarm off. I'm just going to sleep till the sun wakes me up, because the way that the sun comes in through my room is the sun comes in kind of at an angle, so like it comes in through the blinds and wakes me up that way. So it will be nice. Are we going to be able to get all these extra notes for you, Snow? Because this is like most of what you need. No, I won't be able to get whatever's at the end of this. Watera. Okay, that's fine. But that's most of what you need for this one. Probably after, as a matter of fact, definitely after this boss fight, you'll be able to max out Ravager, and then it'll just be Sentinel for you. And Snow is the one that's the most behind, so that helps a little bit. Lightning, where are you at for medic here? Oh, you haven't worked on it at all yet. Okay. Oh, well, this might take a little while. Not too long, but... We definitely... I don't think we have enough to get to Cura at this point, so I'm just going to kind of assume we don't and just buy all the stuff on the side. But she gets Cura pretty late in this little set of nodes here. So we'll work on getting to that. I mean, we might get there. Depends on how much some of these other nodes cost, I guess. We might just get there, actually, like barely. Although I don't really suspect that I'm going to have to switch to medic if I use a Fortisol in this fight. So yeah, we'll get there. But either way, it's nice to have. It lets her heal in an AoE now, so that's pretty good for her. And that's as far as we go, but she's only 10, 18, 26, 34, 44, 52,000 away from being done. Snow is nowhere near being done, but that's okay. Did you? No, you didn't finish yet. So you've got this done, this is done, and then this needs a little bit of work yet. Okay, so let's just buy all the side nodes for you. Oh, I know what I did. I missed this by like, yeah, by like 14 points. Oh man, it's funny though. If it would have been 13 points, it would have been another 13 reference last time after all of the other 13 references that I bothered to point out. Had that. Yeah, I think most people are pretty well set at this point. You've got in Fire and I think, was this in Frost? Yeah. Bravery and Faith already done. You'll be done with Synergist, I think, in just a moment, because those are all done. Yeah. Grab these and Hope's done. So I think at this point we'll have 4 of our characters finished at stage 8, because we've got all the secondary roles that I want for the rest of the entire game. So... I know for a fact, at least I'm pretty sure at this point, Vanille is done. If she's not, she's like really close. So, considering Saz is just about done and he's getting Thundaga now, that's a pretty clear indicator to me. Lightning also gets Thundaga in a little while, but she doesn't get it till stage 9, so we got to wait until then before we bother to buy it. You'd think she'd get it in stage 8, considering, well, you know, it's partially, like, it's what follows her name, but, you know. Saz also gets Aeroga, so he's got 3 level 3 Ravager spells, which is pretty nice for him. Lets him do some splash damage that can really break through the enemy lines, especially if they're at a high a high number of them, and they're all at a high stagger point. It really works pretty well for him. So. And Fang, you're almost done here. We need to buy those strength nodes. Okay, we got Dispelga, that's fine. There's a couple of situations where I might use Dispelga, but usually I don't need it in most cases. Like, usually if you get hit by that many status effects, it's like, okay, start over. Or just Asuna them. Whichever one is the easiest to do. Because usually then the AI, like if you have multiple medics and you're one of them, usually the AI focuses on keeping your HP topped off, so then you can do the status ailment healing with Asuna. So. And once again, I'm not buying Vendetta or Entrench for Fang at the moment, because that way her AI doesn't prioritize using them in most situations, which I obviously don't want, because that's what Snow's AI does, and I would rather that she use the most effective guard. Thank you very much. Like, Kolhu's idea was that they programmed the AI to prioritize the Sentinel move that gives them less extra defense, but allows them to counterattack at the end.
The same motherfucker who programmed my brain and my food from 7 o'clock This is a terrible idea.
Why are you on Uber Eats? That is a terrible idea.
I feel like I eat anything in my fridge.
Well, we're going shopping tomorrow.
I know, that's the worst part.
Yeah. Alright, so Vanille's done. We got our equipment all set up. Cole's still deciding whether or not he's going to order fast food, but maybe I can get his brain away from the idea by going... Well, I'm saving first. Once we save, then we can go to the end of the road. I mean, you could order pizza, I guess. I mean, delivery fees, but...
I don't give a fuck.
Okay. Fair enough, I guess. If you don't care about delivery fees, then okay. Alright, so we're all set and ready to go. Fortuitous Fortisol a go-go. We're off to the end of the road. But is it the end of the rainbow or the end of the line? Let's find out.
Ragnarok.
Well, with music like that on, I'm thinking the end of the rainbow is not going to be here.
Embrace thy fate, thine home to burn, that fallen souls might bear our plea.
I know this voice from somewhere.
Hasten the divine's return.
But where have I heard it before?
Piteous wanderer, Ragnarok. Make of this day a brave epoch.
That's right, it's Laura Bailey.
The divine, Ragnarok.
I mean, Sarah.
Sarah, how did you...
Well, that's surprising.
I was waiting for you to open your eyes.
Yeah, something here ain't right, Saz. Something here's fishy, and it sure as hell ain't cod. All the cod are dead. Or Seath. Or Seath.
Safe cocoon. Together.
Sarah?
Yeah, I think Snow suspects exactly what Saz suspects here.
You get it now. There are no gods with miracles to save us. No matter where you look.
Hey, Marie, how you doing? Welcome back. Yes, you are here at the perfect time.
Destroy Orphan. We'll save the world.
Stop it!
You can't do that. You love me too much. You do. Don't you, Claire?
Okay, so can we stop for a second? You changed your name from Claire to Lightning? Really? Like, listen, Claire is a perfectly fine name, but not just that. You know how many JRPG protagonists are named Claire? I can think of one non-JRPG protagonist named Claire Redfield, but that's the only Claire I can think of. You would have cornered the market on this, Lightning. But instead of that, you chose to switch your name to a name that's derivative of two previous protagonists, both of them male? Okay, so Ian Fleming once wrote, 1 time is happenstance, 2 times is circumstance, and 3 times is enemy activity. Often the quote is misrepresented as 3 times is a pattern. I'm starting to think this is a pattern, Final Fantasy XIII, because you have the token black character, the only major protagonist that's black in the party, try to kill himself in Chapter 8. You completely undermine the female minor antagonist in Chapter 9 and put her on a bus to the dead zone immediately before she can do anything, despite the fact that we were told she was really important and really powerful and blah, blah, blah in the previous chapter. And now this? I'm starting to think you like marginalizing people, Final Fantasy XIII. It's not okay.
Enough already.
Yeah, I'll stop.
Listen up. We are all shooting for the same goal.
And the result of that is this.
I cross-dressed as your teenage dream. Well, that's a side of Bartandalus I never thought I'd see.
You betray your fal'Cie to chase after dreams and shadows. The world you claim to wish to protect now faces the end of days, with no hope of salvation.
I didn't think fal'Cie had the means.
Yeah, I thought you couldn't self-terminate.
It will be fal'Cie who destroy her.
Oh.
For centuries now, XIII has provided generously for its human inhabitants every want and need. Coddled them, one might even say. The result being their deep-seated fear and hatred of change and all things alien.
You bastard, you made them xenophobic.
And ready to detonate at the slightest spark.
And a powder keg.
Seeds of destruction take root, even now.
What did you do to Cocoon?
I made them racist!
I resigned.
The same thing we've been doing for 400 years, Pinky, or that.
Reigns? He's alive?
How?
Yeah,
The
seriously.
puppet is restrung to serve my needs. Yes.
Oh,
Its
that's
eyes
how.
have long since turned to glass. Of course, the cavalry's eyes will see our friend as nothing more than a traitor to their cause. They'll say the fal'Cie got to him too, or some such drivel. And imagine when I spread word that it's Orphan tugging at his strings. What happens next?
How are you going to convince them of that?
Cavalry to take the thing out?
Perhaps. Or perhaps I'll feign the howling of Pulsian wolves and let the fear-addled sheep slaughter themselves first.
You know, that's fair enough, actually.
The end is at hand.
He's such a large ham.
But what
I love when he's
yourselves?
on screen.
Will you enjoy the festivities beside me? Or perhaps...
Reach the end here, in the land where it all began.
I don't know, Bartandalus. I'm thinking this might be a new beginning for us. So we gotta fight him again. Unfortunately, he didn't get his booster shot, so he's no longer immune to all status ailments, which... He is wearing a mask, that's correct, Cole, but Cole told me about this before, and he said, why is that the case? And I said, well, technically speaking, he wants to die, so it kind of tracks.
You did the bit perfectly.
Yeah, well, there you go. Emotional blackmail, courtesy of the Pope. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I don't know, I just love the way that Bartandalus just, when he's on screen, like, sometimes you don't need a villain to be, like, super deep, you just need the villain to just be an asshole. And sometimes that's it. Sometimes that's the only thing that needs to happen. Alright, we didn't get Curse on him yet. He's D-Protect, D-Shell, Imperil, Curse, I think Curse, and Slow. are the main things. I'm just going to keep casting Curse till Hope gets everything on everybody, and I think that's actually everything now, so off we go. But yeah, Snow's got some pretty good lines here. He's got, you know, the "we're not your toys" thing, and then at the beginning, I probably was talking over it, but he said, "You keep your claws off my Sarah!" So, most people have some pretty good lines in this fight, so. Oh, nice teleport, Snow. Alright, so, yeah, so he's gonna slowly, like, get more faces as he goes until he reveals his true face. When he reveals his true face, that's when you want to do some funky shit. There's a technical thing you can do here, which I'm gonna do right about now. Shiva! So this tech is courtesy of the NCU-NEU challenge run that I was talking about previously. But it was, as far as I know, available way back when the game was first... I mean, obviously it was available when the game first launched. They didn't patch this in, but... H.C. Bailey, what are you doing not doing this? Anyway, he reset his thingamajigger there. Thanatosian Laughter is not what we're looking for. Do I have anything where I'm a Ravager here? No, but I guess I can go Saboteur. Ow. Alright, well anyway. We're going to wait for him to do something very specific here, so... That's what we're looking for. When you see Apoptosis, click Gestalt. Check this shit out. So, we used the Fort Assault at the beginning of the fight, right? Normally, Apoptosis will reset all of his debuffs, reset his stagger gauge, and reset all of your buffs while also inflicting damage. However, if you are in Gestalt mode, it will miss, and it will not get rid of your buffs. It will get rid of all of his debuffs, but still. We keep the other stuff, and we can also kind of just keep doing this. Oh, it did, but we're good. So that's the tech. Go into Gestalt mode when you see Apoptosis and get some damage off while you're at it, and then finish him off once that's done. Because as you'll see in a moment, technically being in Gestalt mode means you're not on the field, so you keep all your buffs. He loses all of his debuffs, to be fair, but still. It's pretty nice, I think. No, Lightning got dazed. Okay, that's why she's not putting this stuff on. That's fine. I can stabilize the gauge while she's dazed, and then we can go from there. Just try to get whatever you can, Lightning, and then we'll finish him off. Oh, I've been dazed again. Oh, we've all been dazed. Alright, Hope, keep going. We'll get him eventually. Once he attacks someone other than Hope. There we go. Alright, and then we'll go to Aggression in a second. Imperil? Try it, Lightning. See if you can get it on him. Alright, that's good enough. Let's just go for it. We should be able to get him from here. If I have to, I'll switch to Relentless Assault to fix that, but... Yeah, his debuffs in this fight are kind of Bartandalus' big thing, so, like... That's why you want Veil, basically, is to make sure that you can kind of avoid as many of those as you can. Kurska, in particular, is really nasty because when he Kurskas you, he'll interrupt every one of your attacks with his lasers, but it usually only happens to me near the end of the fight, so that's usually pretty good. I was not planning on healing unless I used Renew, so... But I could have used Renew right there and it would have gotten him back up, but we were close enough. I was like, nah, we're good. And as you can see, we're good. Target time was 11 minutes, so we've got plenty of time. We also got 100,000 CP for finishing that fight. So that's nice. And we also get a Goddess's Favor, which I'm going to use in a few minutes for some more money, basically. It's not worth a lot of money on its own, but we can make it be worth a little bit, so... Oh, and we got to stage 9 of the Crystarium, so that's also nice. Maybe next time get your booster shot, Grandpa.
Oh, he's still hearing.
The time has come. Allow me to extend my invitation. To save a people beyond salvation, there is only Ragnarok.
Have you even tried to look for an alternate solution? Well, we've got another airship. Let's hope this one doesn't take us directly to Yag Rosh again.
Suffers. Release her from the pain.
Sounds like that's basically our only option. I mean, I don't see another one. Do any of you? Oh, Seath Stone. Yeah, I guess that's another option. All right, well, this is our last chance. Let's see what it says. This Seath Stone's a little different because it's not a normal Seath Stone. It doesn't give you a mission yet. Later it will. Not yet.
So, this is the end of the rainbow, huh?
It's going to say more like the end of the line, but we've finally taken this train to the end of the line.
You know, I don't remember this.
You tabbed out and it was over. Holy hell. You missed the tech then. I used the tech to avoid having him dispelling all of my buffs.
I suppose it might be a record.
You might have heard me say it, though.
You know, after we turned to Crystal.
So they kept the record for the 400 years that it's been. I mean, I guess that would probably be helpful. See if they came up with anything we haven't thought of yet. Oh, good. A Bloom diary. Lovely. God, that's bright.
Cocoon, where the slaves of Lindsay dwell, is the enemy of all life fostered by Pulse's sacred hand. So our Fal'Cie determined Pulse's will, chose l'Cie, and gave them a focus. Become Ragnarok and bring about the end of Cocoon. And so the beast arose, defeated Lindsay's hateful Fal'Cie, and prepared to tear Cocoon apart. But her providence betrayed our l'Cie, draining Ragnarok of strength.
Lindsay is male, by the way, as far as I'm aware, so her is a third party here.
Enemy's land by Bartandalus, curse his name.
Of course he was involved in it. Why wouldn't he
The
be?
sea who rest upon Cocoon will reawaken, however long they may wait. And Ragnarok will rise again, to tear the land from its seat in the sky.
I guess they kind of mentioned it.
Is absolute.
But the her in this case is the goddess. Which is not Lindsay or Pulse.
The jig is up.
I was kind of waiting to look at the data log until we got the whole spiel on Lindsay and Pulse,
If we go
so...
ahead and smash Cocoon, you know some maker's sure to roll up and save the day.
Not just some maker, the maker.
As long as Fal'Cie are around, this fight is never gonna end. So let's finish it. Let's get Daisley.
So what do we do about Orphan?
We help Orphan. What else can we do? If we can manage to keep it safe.
Another war breaks out somewhere down the road.
Yeah, because I was going to say, Orphan is a Fal'Cie, right?
It's not like we can make people stop fighting.
I mean, we can try.
Lightning, you told me on Cocoon. It's not a question of can or can't. We just do it. That's our only choice this time. Maybe it won't do much. Maybe only one person will listen to us. But even then, isn't trying better than doing nothing?
See, like, this is one of those reasons why I can't hate Hope, right? Is he starts out as a little asshole because he was a sheltered child, and at the end of the game, listen to him. Like, that's growth. That's character development.
When I was on Cocoon, I wished on those fireworks. I wished to not let anything happen to Cocoon this time. But I shouldn't have wished for that. Wishes aren't enough. Prayers either. This time I'm making a promise. I will keep Cocoon safe. I promise. No matter what.
And this is probably the promise that is referred to by the title screen music, because they all basically make this
We're
promise.
the only ones who can do it, right?
Right here, right now. Any last words for us, team leader?
All right then. Let's tie up loose ends.
Yeah, I guess it's better than let's mosey.
Right.
Yeah.
Alright, so this is why I left a few of the missions. By the way, the Seath Stone is now dormant again. It won't show up until you've completed... Well, actually, you don't need to complete all 63 other Seath Stone missions for it to show up. You just need to have killed all of the Undying, basically. So once you do that, which at this point we've killed all but 2 of them, I think. There's... One is in Mission 30 and one is in Mission 51. But the one in Mission 51 you can't actually get to until you've completed, like, every single mission from 35 to 50, basically. We'll talk about it when we get there, but we're not going to be doing the missions from 35 to 51 because it's kind of a lot, and it's in an area that I'm not kind of a big fan of. So we're just gonna not.
It's a shame because 35 and 51 have some of the more intriguing monster designs.
There's some pretty silly stuff in there, yeah. But I'll talk about why I'm not a big fan of it when we actually get to. We're gonna show 35. Like we'll show where it is because you actually have to enter it in order for me to do one of the last things that I want to actually do here. So, like, when I say enter it, I mean enter the area that you have to go into. So, okay. I think now we just swap the party back around so that everybody's like that. So let's get our normal paradigms back. Get our normal equipment back, and then I think we'll use some of the. Let's see, this was... Oh, yeah, I want Lightning to be the Saboteur so we can get Deprotect and De-Shell. So there we go. This is Com, Sen, Rav. Sorry, it's been a few days. I need a minute to make sure I get everything. I'll be fine by the end of this 3-day period, though, because we'll have played for 3 days in a row. But, let's see, yeah. So basically, I'm just going to use up all my stuff so we get all the equipment back to where it's supposed to be. And then... Like Lightning said, we'll go tie up some loose ends. We've got 6 more missions to do. Sounds right. We'll find out soon enough. We've got a few other things that we're going to do today. I'm not in a huge hurry. What I'm figuring is probably we'll be done with everything on Pulse by the end of the next episode, and then we'll head back to Cocoon to make sure that Bartandalus doesn't send all of the lemmings off of the cliff, like he's attempting to do. So... Aurora Scarf, give you the Morale Talisman, Tetratic Tiara. Should I re-equip Vanille Fang and Saz? I'm trying to think what I'm going to have them do next. Yes, actually I should, because they're going to be doing the next mission, actually. We're gonna put some of the Deceptisol that we got to use for the next couple of missions before we go after mission 30. We're gonna do one of them in order. We're gonna do mission 29 next, but then after that we're gonna do mission 32 instead of 30, just because mission 32 is really out of the way. And I don't feel like going really out of the way when 30, 31, 33, and 34 are all kind of in the same place. So, figure it's easier to just take care of the ones that are out of the way first, and then we'll come back. You get the Aurora Scarf, actually, because Fang is gonna be who I control for this next mission. So let's do that. What is your conclusion, Cole?
I'm not going to order food.
Okay.
However, I need to see if those chicken thighs I have in the fridge are still good. Because they've been there for 6 days.
In the fridge?
In the fridge.
That's iffy. You should stick them in the freezer if you're gonna use them like that.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was gonna take me that long to cook with them. Because I didn't feel like cooking all week for reasons.
Reasons, yeah.
I feel bad throwing out food like that.
Yeah, I know. I get that. Well, do you have something else to eat besides those?
Good question.
No. Oh boy. Might have to order food then. Well, I guess you don't have to, but... Do you have anything in your freezer? Deliberating. Okay, so let's grab this. Basically, what I'm going to do before I do anything with Stage 9, we unlock Stage 9, by the way, so any of the, stuff above, like if we go this way and we go up, we can go all the way up here. But before I do anything with Stage 9, I'm going to get everybody done with Stage 8. And probably I'm going to get all 34 of the missions that I want to do done first. So like we'll do 29, 32, and then 30, 31, 33, and 34 before we even start doing anything with Stage 9. Just because Stage 9 is kind of like, well, I'll do this in, you know, the next chapter, basically. So, yeah, we'll do that before we, whatchamacallit, before we even start touching Stage 9, I think. Okay, I was going to say, what's over here that's going to take so long to get to, but it's Reprieve. So this is kind of like the second chance of the game. If a Sentinel's above a certain amount of HP, I think it's above 30% HP or above 25%, something like that, then they won't die when they get hit by an attack, which is kind of nice. Helps a little bit, especially a little bit later with one particular skill that we'll be dealing with, but we'll get there when we get there. Oh, we got counter as well. That's not bad. So we need to get strength, dispelga, HP, HP. Okay, so we'll come back for those once Snow actually has some CP and everybody else can just kind of build on the stone because they've got nothing left to buy. So we'll just get Snow up and then we'll go from there. All right, equipment's all ready. So now, before we move back along, let's take care of that goddess's favor because I want to star it with the materials we have on hand. I'm actually going to sell the taming pole as well, and then we're going to dismantle the goddess's favor once it's starred, because it has a couple of nice things in it that I would like to get. So let's just use what we have on hand. We need to get to 1800. That shouldn't be too hard. Wonder if that's enough if I'd use some of those solenoids, maybe? We need 1400-ish. That's not quite there. Oh, that's too much. I mean, I guess I could use some solenoids and just, like, use the... Oh, okay. I did the math wrong. That's cool. But it's starred now, so that's the important part. And if you dismantle a starred goddess's favor, you will get... Hold on. That's what you get. So you get a nugget of scarletite, which we're actually going to use because we can use it to... We used our first scarletite nugget in order to upgrade the tetratic crown to a tetratic tiara. In this particular case, we're going to use this scarletite to upgrade either Snow's or Fang's weapon. I don't remember which one, but we'll upgrade one of them with this scarletite, and we'll buy another scarletite in order to upgrade the other one. So, also gets you a vial of perfume. It sells for 12,500, not bad. And we get a ribbon. So we didn't actually need to dig up the ribbon that you can get from the Chocobo digs because, here we go, we got one here. So now I can show you what it does. So the ribbon gives you the resilience skill, which gives you that flat 20% bonus to resistance to all status ailments, which can be upgraded to, I think, 25% on a ribbon, and then you can, like, synthesize it into a super ribbon, which gets it up to 30%, but even 30% to me is like, why bother, you know what I mean? Like, if most debuffs aren't really that big of a deal in this game, if they're bad, you can just Asuna them. But the ones that are bad, which is to say basically instant death, you could just use instant death protection for that instead, or you can use Veil, because Veil gives you a flat 50% resistance to all status ailments. So the ribbon on top of Veil would mean you almost never get statused, but I don't really see the point, personally. I'm not really a big fan of it. So I just, usually what I do with them is if I find them, I upgrade them all the way up to full, and then I dismantle them, because you can get like 30-something thousand gil out of doing that, if I remember correctly. So we're going to attempt to get to that point by upgrading them all the way. So let's see what we can do here with the XP bonuses, and try to get it up to ×3 if we can. It's got to be almost there. There we go. Excuse me. And now we just kind of shove a bunch of stuff into it and see how far it goes. I think we need to get to... let's use these bomb cores. Why not? We need to get to like 20,000 experience total in order to get this thing all the way up. So we use these cores. It should go up a pretty good amount. Got rid of all of the bonus though, so we'll have to redo that, but that's okay. No big deal. We got plenty of smooth hides, so I don't really think that's going to be a problem for us. Like, look at all... I mean, we've used most of it at this point, but look at all this stuff. Okay, so we're back at ×3. Just blow a whole bunch of stuff into this. 2,700, 12. That's probably better. Yeah. So did you end up ordering food? Yeah, okay, fair enough. Nice. So we need to get it up to, I think star level is above level 5 if I remember correctly. So let's see, it's still a *2 bonus. So let's just see if we can get it to *3 to just top it all the way off, and then we should be good. Let's see. Which one of these gave me more? I guess the Chobam armor gave me more. Are we at a point where we need... Yeah, we need that much, actually. Because we're not going to quite get there. So maybe it actually goes up to level 6 and then star. No, because I think once you get it to star level, that's when it's at 25%. So we need another 4,000. Okay. So let's just use a few of these. Try to get it back to the *3. There we go. And we need about 3,500. I don't think we'll get that all in one. Let's see. Well, those definitely won't get us there, and neither will those. Don't have enough spark plugs, so I guess we'll just use the solenoids and see where we're at. Okay, about 700 from here, so that shouldn't be too bad to do. Yeah, there we go. Done. All right, so starred ribbon, and then if you dismantle a starred ribbon, you get 36 drops of Dusklight Dew, which sell for 850 gil apiece, and then 10 mats of red mycelium, but I don't need shrooms in my inventory, so we can sell those too. And I think the total of those is about 36,000 gil, I want to say. So.
Did you just disassemble a straight 25% resistance item for some fucking mushrooms?
Yes, I did.
Why?
Because Veil gives you 50%. So why do I need 25%?
No, it's just, I feel like I just watched somebody get a rare drop in an MMO and then throw it in the garbage can.
Oh, don't worry, we'll do that later too. Let's sell that perfume, there we go.
You're around playing Demon Souls, you get to the fucking birds, you drop the Moonlight Greatsword, and you get a fucking rock out of it. That's what I feel like I just watched.
And we're back up above 1,000,000 gil, so that should help a little bit. Do we need to buy anything while we're here? I guess I could buy the things that I'm going to use for the Gaian rings, but before we do the Gaian rings, we actually need enough Uraninite to upgrade all the Siltstone rings to Gaian rings. So, alright, so we need to go to Lenora's garage and buy 9 superconductors, so let's do that. Hot pink Lenora's garage again. It's just the bloom on this place. The hot pink doesn't bother me, it's just the bloom is so high on some of these colors, it just bothers my eyes. And 75 barbed tails, and that should be good. And we will use those once we get enough Uraninite to actually upgrade all the Siltstone rings. And we're going to get 2 Uraninites from the next 2 missions, respectively. So, well, not the next 2. We're going to get one from the next mission we do, which is mission 29. We're going to get one from mission 30, which we're going to do after we do mission 32. Sound like a plan? Good, because now we have to trek back through the vast majority of Erba in order to get to the teleport point. So, here we go. I'm probably going to fight everything along the way just because Snow's not done with stage 8 yet, so just to ensure that he gets there, I'll probably fight everything along the way. I know, it's a pain, but... Oh yeah, and Lightning has access to stage 9 now, so if I was to go into her Ravager profile, she would have access to Thundaga up there pretty early, but... wait, hang on, D-Shell, there we go. But I actually don't want to get Thundaga for her for a little while yet. The reason why is because if you look at her Ravager menu, she has access to Fire, Blizzard, Thunder, Water, and Arrow in a pretty straight line on the left side of her menu there. And if I get Thundaga, that's going to mess that all up. And the reason why I like having all 5 of those there is because it allows me to kind of see, like, use all of the magic on the enemies really quickly and check their weaknesses really quickly at the beginning of a fight if I don't know what they are yet, like if I haven't fought them yet, you know. So then I don't have to use Libra as much, because then it's like, oh yeah, they absorb that. Okay, let's not cast that. But if I get Thundaga, that whole left side's going to be a little messed up, because Thundaga's going to take the place of one of them, and then I'll end up using some of the elements, but not all of them, and I might end up using something that is absorbed, and it's just a mess. So I'm just going to leave Lightning on level 2 spells for a little while until later. Yeah, they're very inaccurate, these guys. I mean, I guess. Maybe they don't have any brain. And that's why they can't process what they're seeing, and that's why they always miss me. I think I'm, yeah, going this way. Alright, so yeah, like I said, we'll just beat our way back through Erba. We'll get to the teleport point, and then we will head back. And we will go do Mission 29. Mission 29 is kind of off in a weird place. Like, I don't know how I guess you're supposed to find it, unless you're just kind of wandering around and you just happen upon it by accident. But I know where it is, and it's in a place where we've actually taken care of. There was an optional sub-boss there. So we actually took care of that when we first got to that area. And that will make it a little easier for us to just get... Well, I guess not a little easier to get back there, but... I know exactly where it is. That's the point, so we don't have to worry about that too much. Alright, Snow, punch the shit out of him. I will also punch the shit out of him with my sword, because deprotect makes it so I actually do a little more like this, so... Okay, good. I mean, to be fair, Snow just did 60,000 damage with one of his attacks, so... We're pretty strong at this point in the game. And honestly, like, those Vatala, I've heard a lot of people say that they're pretty tough, like, to the point where they can't get them in one stagger, and... Well, that's the trick, really. Just get deprotect on them. Works pretty good. Debuffs are good. Who knew? I was gonna say, get a Thundaga off quick, Hope, before they all scatter, but they all scattered, unfortunately, so...
See the divergence of the ones that have the big ass arm.
Just another battle.
The second big ass arm.
Hmm.
You get the weird ones. Like hard target.
Yeah. Cole's talking about the dimorphism of Seath, basically, and how they've changed from all of that stuff. Were you here when I was talking about how the Seekers are probably children, Cole?
Oh, I was in the room.
Yeah. That's fucked.
Yeah.
Of course, it doesn't really what?
One arm crawling around the ground. I was thinking a fucked up sense of humor.
Yeah, for sure. They are not the kindest overlords, that's for sure. Doesn't really explain what the bats are, though. Or floating heads.
I mean, the Vitalas don't have heads. They kind of just have rocks that float above their heads.
Yeah. See, the way that I see it with the Vatalas is that maybe they were, like, important people or something. Like, maybe they were the train conductors or something. I don't know why that would change what kind of Seath they are compared to, like, the grunt workers here. Like, you would think that their economic status in life would not affect what type of Seath they are. But, hey, I don't know.
To be fair, the FLC probably just runs the economic system. Like, considering they're the ones responsible for trying to keep the monster focuses, they wouldn't be surprised if they had a fuck or something. Like, oh, this person was a random fucked off citizen. When you turn into a monster, I'm gonna make you a slug.
Yeah, and I mean, that's fair. Cole was basically saying that, no, probably the FLC are the ones that created the economy around here, so that might make the difference. Oh, you know what I was going to do today as well is I was going to look at the data log now that we've gotten all of the information on the gods, so I'll look at that once we get out of Erba. Let's just get out of Erba first, and then we'll do a little bit of data log searching, because I have questions, and they are written in my notes, and if we ask the questions and the data log can answer them, then the data log is doing the job that it probably is supposed to do in a video game like this, because it's supposed to deliver supplemental information that might be hard for the game to directly explain its plot without the characters just sounding like they're expositing for no reason. If it can't answer those questions, I don't know, maybe the data log's not doing its job then. He was ready to go. He was like, I don't know about these kids, but I'm getting out of here.
Damn, bro, you're a former teacher. Why are you abandoning the kids?
Actually, the teacher is the Vatala that's in the school, but yeah, fair play. Alright, let's get D-Shell on him. Could get slow and curse as well, but I think D-Shell will make it go a little faster, so.
Hey, welcome to Monochrome Stream. Today we're discussing
Erba is messed up, yeah.
Yeah?
I'm gonna get Arrow good. Oh, never mind. Bye, Hope. Oh, that really messed everybody up, didn't it?
Boom.
It's too bad, though. We still got him. Too bad for him, that is.
Unfortunately for him, we broke his face.
To be fair, his face was hidden underneath all of his armor, but made a hole.
There's a hole.
Then why didn't you fill it with something else? No data available. Boy, that's a deep cut reference. Cole's gonna know what that is, but I don't know if anybody else is.
What the fuck haven't you played those games yet?
I'm working on getting towards them. I haven't gotten around to them yet. They're a long project.
Constantly roast you for your streams over perpetually.
They're long
You're playing
projects,
this
so.
cringe.
Yeah, some of the longer projects, it's just like they're planned to be done. It's just I have to wait a little while to make sure that it's like I have the time to do them. You know what I mean? Where it's not like, oh, well, you know, we'll just start them whenever. I don't want to end up with projects like this where I'm trying to get my clear out my library of PS3 games. Oh, look, another fortuitous Fortisol, probably from the same enemy. Yeah, but like if I had to clear out my whole PS3 library and I was playing some really long RPGs, which is what that deep cut reference was from, it might make things a little harder.
You know, you really don't need to fight every game. You can walk past the path.
Yep, I'm aware. Snow's not done with Stage 8 yet, so that's why I'm fighting still.
That explains it.
Yeah. Once he's done with Stage 8, we can kind of slow our roll on all the fighting. Although, we'll be in a new area, well, an old area with a new section in a few minutes, so then we won't have an excuse to avoid everything.
I'll never not laugh about staggering something as they're falling out of the air, and then one of your party members just runs up on them, knocks them back into the air. I feel like I'm watching professional Tekken or Street Fighter or something. Literally just air comboed.
Yes, juggling like this is Marvel vs. Capcom 3. And trust me when I tell you, there's a lot of juggling in that game.
It's a one-player game.
Mm-hmm. Single player with an online component. Did Snow get a ruin off of these guys? I think he did. At least one.
The Marvel, like, video that I usually watch is just Phoenix. It's just fucking Marvel Life Arrow playing Marvel's Capcom 3. First opening bit is literally Life Arrow going, this is the worst character in the game. Actually just walks into Phoenix in the full sprint of Goku and just like, die. And then it's in the injection into a full HP bar kill. It's the worst character in the game, by the way.
Duh. Wonder if we should go see Bhakti again. We should go see Bhakti again. Bhakti doesn't get visited by enough people, so let's go see Bhakti again. He might not have anything new to say. He might not change his bite until you leave, but it's worth seeing him again, I think. What do you got for me this time, Bhakti? Yes, I'm aware of that. This is the bonus. Okay, we didn't get this bonus bite last time, I don't think, but it tells you, if you didn't know how to get Mithridates yet, this will tell you how to do it. If you climb to the 7th tier of Tajin's Tower, you'll be able to rejoin all of the elevator's rail sections, and that'll allow you to summon Mithridates to the field. Excuse me. Help. It was mission 27.
Oh.
Here's all the kids! Bye, kids! Yeah, one more fight after this, and then we're out of here. Officially.
Target's a target.
Even if they're children, Lightning, you don't need to be badass about it when you're murdering Seath children. Like, Jesus Christ.
That wasn't so bad.
Have a heart, Lightning. But yeah, the CP that we're getting from doing this should be helpful, and then I'm trying to remember if there's... I think there might be one more item that I need to use the materials that I have on hand in order to synthesize it all the way to star level. Although it might be another ribbon, to be fair. So I think beyond... Like, if we dig up the other ribbon that's on the Archealt step, then yeah, we'll use the stuff to get it there. But if we don't dig it up, like if we don't have enough time on the step to actually dig it up, then... Well, we won't need to use any more of the materials on hand because the Gaian rings that I'm planning on making, I already have the materials. I bought the materials for them. Everything else that I'm planning on making, the tier 2 weapons, and then the other accessory that I'm planning on making, it's like, yeah, no, I've got all the materials for it. So Or I'm going to get all the materials for it by purchasing it, so... we'll do another round on this. He'll be almost dead at that point, but then we can ATB refresh, and if he decides to wail, then, well, he decides to wail, and I ruin him to death. Yeah, like that.
He doesn't get the chance.
There's no time to play games. You won't even get the chance. Okay. Anyway, we're all the way back at the teleport point now, so we can finally leave. So that's cool. Where do I want to go to do this part? I think the North High Plain would be the best place to do it. So I'm trying to think if I want to stay here, though, to look at the data log stuff while I answer questions. I might do that, actually, because, I mean, the Archaeot Steppe has, you know, more uplifting music, but is it appropriate for reading? I don't know. So let's finally take a look at the data log after I take care of this real quick. Just put that stuff where it's supposed to be. All right, so the data log. There's a lot going on here. If there's anything in the game that was immediately unclear, I suppose this can act as supplemental material for you, and I think we've kind of mentioned that the 13 days can be somewhat confusing in terms of what happens because all the flashbacks happen, like, in different orders, and you don't know exactly what was happening.
On the note of lore, I think I'm gonna head out.
Okay.
Because I don't want to read.
That's fair.
I have some stuff to do.
That's fair.
So I'm gonna go do it.
So what I'm thinking we'll do, by Cole, is we'll go through the 13 days first, just so that way we have an idea of, like, what happened, bless you, of what happened in this frickin' world before all of this shit started happening. And then after that, we'll look at my questions. And once we've done that, I'm not going to go through the whole data log. Like, that's way, way more than we need to. And to be fair, a lot of this stuff, like, is supplemental. They didn't need to include it in the game, and frankly, like, they could have made a whole nother game out of it. Hell, they did. They made two. But, yeah, no, it's mostly supplemental material, and it's not stuff that's easily explained within the game itself, so... If it can answer the questions that I have in my notes from, you know, legitimate things that I've seen and noticed throughout the game where I need an answer in order for it to make sense, then sure, that's cool. You know, then it serves a purpose. Can't answer them, then we got a problem. Either way, 13 days before... Oh, and there's a lot of entries in here. There's 13 days that happened before the game began, as Vanille said at the very beginning of the game, the 13 days after we awoke, and day one was awakening. Hey, Amarella, how you doing? Welcome back. We're going to go over a little lore now. We're finally going to look at the data log after having ignored it for the entire stream, just so that way we can see if it answers any of the questions that I've had that need explanations from previous chapters. And once we've done that, then we're going to kind of move along and do the loose ends that I've got for Pulse. We're going to wrap up the rest of the side quests that I'm planning on doing. We probably won't wrap everything up today, but we'll get a good chunk of it done, I think. So, all right, so let's take a look. Day 1, Awakening. So this is when Fang and Vanille woke from their sleep. Deep within the Bodum vestige to Lassie, Fang and Vanille awoke from crystal stasis. Fang's brand was scarred and scorched, and she had lost every memory relating to her focus. Explicitly. Not anything else, just the focus, including the events surrounding its apparent completion. Vanille mimicked her friend, pretending to have forgotten her focus as well. Afraid of hurting even more people, she wanted nothing more than to leave her fate behind. Not much else happened that day, so on day 2, Opposition. Snow was overjoyed to meet the older sister of his beloved Sarah, but Lightning was far from impressed. She had never approved of him or his group's unsanctioned activities, even though she decided to change her name to a weather pattern just like his real name. Anyway, as far as Lightning was concerned, Nora's actions, hunting down weak monsters and acting like heroes, were reckless and irresponsible. She wanted Snow to forget about dating her sister, but the young man just laughed away her demands. His flippant attitude did nothing but reinforce her original impression. Okay, well, that doesn't... I mean, I guess that may potentially explain the raging bitch part in that one cutscene where she just did the worst birthday ever thing. But day 3, Escalation. Fang and Vanille discovered the unconscious Sarah deep within the vestige. They could see the girl had been branded with the mark of a Lassie. The door to the Pulse structure, closed until now, was thrown open when Fang and Vanille awoke from their stasis, and Sarah had chosen to walk through it. They took the newly branded servant outside and watched over her until she recovered and set off home. The two women, their focus forgotten, assumed that the fal'Cie Anima had chosen a new lessee, which was not what Anima did exactly. Anima wanted Sarah basically to gather up a bunch of allies, but either way. This does kind of talk about one of the questions that I had, though. The question that I initially had about this was, why was Sarah exploring the Pulse Vestige in the first place, right? Like, was she the first person to explore it since the Pulse Vestige was put in the lake near Bodom 400 years ago? And then, if not, were there more purges before this, or is the purge a new solution? So this hints at some of the answers to that. It doesn't tell us why she decided to go in there. There may be a data log entry on Sarah that I'd like to look up where we could maybe get the reason why she went in, because it just seems willful for her to go in if they don't tell you why, right? Like, it just seems like, it doesn't seem like something Sarah would do. It doesn't seem in character for her. But yeah, this does explain that, yes, she was the first person to go in there since it was put there 400 years ago. But that does cause me to want to ask a follow-up question, which is, why did no one think to blow the doors open until now? Right? Like, you think about it. The War of Transgression happened 400 years ago after it was done in Cocoon 1, quote-unquote. For the past 400 years, one of the biggest occupations on Cocoon is the salvaging of pulse technology. So, wouldn't you have just some random schmucks that just decide, oh, look, a giant fuck-off monolith in the middle of Lake Bodom. We should blow the doors open on that thing and see if we can salvage any of it. Like, it just seems bizarre that it would have been left just standing immaculate and untouched in the middle of a lake when it's literally, like I said, a gigantic monolith. Just in the people's eyes for 400 years with no one touching it. I find that hard to believe, personally. But like I said, we may get an entry on Sarah at the very least in a different part, like in the biography section or something, that might tell us why she went in there. I'm not sure if we do. So, nothing says it was untouched. I beg to differ. It says right here, the door to the pulse structure closed until now was thrown open. I suppose that means they could have salvaged some stuff from the surface level of it. But again, it's a giant monolith. Like, if you can salvage good stuff from the surface of it, wouldn't you want to go inside at some point? Because, like, if the outside has so much stuff, wouldn't the guts have better stuff? I don't know. I haven't gone on salvaging missions, obviously. I know nothing about salvaging tech, but it just feels weird to me that for 400 years no one decided to go in any capacity, and then all of a sudden Sarah says, I'm going to go in. Just seems weird to me. Anyway, we can keep going. We'll go to day 4, searching. Fang was feeling anxious. Her own brand was scorched and showed no signs of changing, but Vanille's mark was still active. If they didn't remember and complete their forgotten focus, her friend would become a Seath. With nothing left to lose, Fang suggested they visit the Sanctum fal'Cie and the Uriday Gorge energy plant. If they approached one of their sworn enemies, then perhaps the memory of their focus would return. And that didn't really work out for anybody involved, including Dodge, but we'll talk about Dodge. So, can try, but can the weapons even hurt it? It just says it hadn't opened. And to be fair, yeah, I don't know if the weapons can hurt it. Like I said, I don't know if they could get in. I'm just curious if anybody tried, I guess, is the main point that I'm making. Like, did anybody attempt to get in? And what did that cause? Did it end up with them getting turned into goop because the fal'Cie just said, no, fuck you, you can't come in, and turn them into gelatin? Or, like, I'd like to know what happened if someone tried, and if anyone tried at all. Like, I feel like it would make it less weird that it's just been sitting in a lake for 400 years and just hasn't been touched, you know what I mean? Because it's right there. There's like thousands of people living in Bodom, and no one touched it. I find that hard to believe, but either way, day 5, Uriday. There was an accident at the Uriday Gorge energy plant located near the seaside community of Bodom. And this is another thing for me, right? Is because, okay, Dodge is a kid, so that's a little bit different. But, like, it kind of gives me this reinforcement that there are curious people on Cocoon. Like, it doesn't feel like Final Fantasy X, where like the churches in Final Fantasy X would tell you don't do something, and the devout people of the world of Spira would just say, okay, the church says not to do this, so we shouldn't do this. Like, there are people in this world that don't listen to authority. Again, Dodge is like 6, but so he has no sense of authority, but there's a sense of curiosity there. So I'd like to know if that curiosity ever met with anything, I guess. So anyway, details of the accident were not released to the public, but the lack of information sparked widespread conjecture among the populace. Rumors began to circulate about an act of sabotage by Pulse l'Cie, sending a whisper of panic through a society that has lived in terror of lower world invasion for centuries, even though they've literally incorporated all of their technology into their everyday life. Yeah, okay, anyway. Day 5, Contact. We can talk about Dodge now. We'll get to Dodge's... I think there's a biography on Dodge, so that might actually explain something that I'm confused about with Dodge. Saz took his son to the Uridate Gorge energy plant after Dodge begged to see one of the Sanctum fal'Cie. While Saz was busy buying a chocobo chick at the souvenir shop, which he probably should have done with Dodge in hand since the chick was for Dodge... Anyway, the little boy ran off into the plant alone, and there was no security to stop him. I need to stop questioning. Moments later, a strange phenomenon rocked the building. When the panicked father rushed inside, he found his son unconscious, lying on a bench. The energy plant fal'Cie, Kujata, had branded Dodge with the mark of a Sanctum l'Cie. And, yeah, surprise, Dodge, you're a Sanctum l'Cie now. Isn't that fun? I think I'm going to go to Dodge's biography, though, before I ask the question. The question that I had, basically, was what is Dodge's focus, specifically? Like, I need a specific answer as to what Dodge's focus is. But I don't think I want to touch on that yet until we go to his biography, because I think there's a lot of worms to unpack there. It's like a whole big can, so I don't want to get into that just yet. We've still got to read the rest of this, so I'll do the rest of this first, and then we'll get into some of that stuff. Yeah, and that's fair as well, because they had Fang and Vanille in the plant. Yeah, so those intruders would like split around the security forces. So yeah, that's a fair point. So, but yeah, the Chocobo chick. Yeah, surprise, Dodge. There you go. I mean, to be fair, Dodge did, as far as I'm aware, was happy with the gift that he got. He just wasn't happy with the other gift that he got. So. Anyway, day 5, goodbye. Fang's plan to infiltrate the energy plant with Vanille and recover the memory of their focus ended in failure. Sensing their presence, the fal'Cie Kujata attempted to defend itself by creating a servant out of the closest human, a little boy. Doesn't seem like the best plan. Including Sarah from the day before last, now 2 innocent lives had been forever altered. The fluctuations in the plant's power levels altered the Sanctum army, and Fang drew the attention of the soldiers onto herself to give Vanille a chance to escape. Just remember that Kujata branded Dodge. That's something that I will bring up when we talk about Dodge's focus. Just, again, a question I have, doesn't have an answer, hoping to get an answer out of the data log. Day 6, Alliance. We didn't see any of this, so this is new to us, as far as I'm aware. After shaking her military pursuers, Fang returned to the vestige to find Vanille already gone. She searched the town for her missing friend, but was eventually captured by Sanctum soldiers, members of the Cavalry, a unit commanded by Brigadier General Sid Raines. Raines, a man opposed to a fal'Cie-controlled Cocoon, who still has military power somehow, despite the fact that the military is entirely under the orders of the fal'Cie? How does that work? Whatever. Offered Fang his protection. That's not as important. That's just a question, I guess. Offered Fang his protection. Not fully trusting him, but without a way to locate Vanille on her own, the desperate l'Cie decided to join the general and his fleet. I mean, I guess they're like a resistance movement, but like, why is there a resistance movement if the only thing that anybody knows about fal'Cie at this point is that their every want and need is given to them by them? I mean, I guess maybe they're like, yeah, so Cocoon l'Cie kind of get a raw deal, but like the propaganda would say otherwise? Do they know something that the rest of the populace doesn't? I'm going to wait and see, because there's probably like a cavalry data log entry, so we can look at that too. So, because that might answer my question. I mean, give a child godlike power. Being a child means a little less. Yeah, I guess that's fair. And I mean, that's what Nabat wanted to basically say. Like, no, the kid's she was using it, his crystallization, obviously, to assuage the people of Cocoon, because she was going to be like, yeah, we're going to display his crystal in Eden and he's going to be a folk hero and all that stuff. So she wanted to make him out to be more than he was. He was still just a kid, but that, he could have been more to the people. So, day 7, Revelation. Sarah was overcome by curiosity when she saw the doors to the vestige wide open for the first time. Okay, so it was her blatant curiosity that caused her to wander in? Like, why is she curious? Like, maybe we'll see it in her biography. Maybe it's... I mean, she does become a teacher in the second game, so maybe that's the thread that they're pulling on, is the curiosity is her wanting to learn something so she can teach something? I don't know. Anyway, she wandered inside and was branded by the Pulse Fal'Cie. Unable to tell Lightning that she had become a l'Cie. Why? She's your sister. She would probably figure out a way. Like, she's not just going to murder you for being a l'Cie. Like, even though those are her orders, you're her sister. It's a little complicated there. Sarah eventually revealed her painful secret to Snow 4 days later. Unwilling to see him suffer the same fate, the young woman tried to break off their relationship, but Snow chased after her and swore to help complete her focus, whatever it may be. He did do that, technically speaking, so I guess he kept his end of the deal. Yeah, children like going into places they're told to never go to. I'm not even sure if Daj was told not to go. I think he just kind of went somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, Saz didn't see where he went, and he was like, oh, Daj is missing. Well, that's not good. Went after him, but I don't know. I don't know if they tell us exactly, like, what the situation was there, you know what I mean? So... Oh, you meant Sarah. She wasn't that old. You want to be told, don't enter the closet so many times till the closet opens and on its own, and you look. Yeah, I guess I could buy that. I guess I'm still iffy on it, honestly. Like, I'd like there to be more to it than just that, but I guess I could buy it. So, day 8, questions. After being made into a Sanctum l'Cie, Daj was taken into custody by PSICOM and subjected to a battery of tests. Colonel Nabat, the supervising officer, next imparted some unsettling news to Saz. His son had gained the ability to sense the presence of pulse beings, but his focus was still unknown. Without a defined focus, the boy was doomed to become a Seath. Could his task be to discover lower world invaders to destroy them? Saz's mind raced as he tried to figure out a way to save his son. And this explains why Saz was on the train. I think they're going to get into this in a little bit, but he went on the train because he figured if he went closer to a pulse object, he could find the invaders, quote unquote, maybe even kill them. He had guns after all, and complete his son's focus, so that way his son would be free of the curse that he had. Of course, how was Saz to know? Actually, he may have known. I forget if he was the one that said in chapter 3, yeah, they turn to crystal when they, when they complete their focus. But I guess in Saz's mind, that was better than becoming a Seath. He knew what a Seath was at that point, probably, if the propaganda was to be believed. I don't know how much he believed the propaganda because he's old and jaded, but either way, day 9, serendipity. After scraping her leg in a fall on the beach, Vanille was aided by an unlikely person, Snow's fiancée, Sarah. Vanille was responsible for both Sarah and Daj becoming l'Cie. I still don't think that's true. Like, just because you two said we don't remember our focus and ran off doesn't mean that Anima, like, the Pulse Fal'Cie to me seem like they have a one-track mind. Their only goal is either kill Seath or monsters, and that's what all the Seath Stone missions are, or more recently, destroy Cocoon. Like, since the War of Transgression, that seems to be their kind of MO. Their singular agenda is destroy Cocoon. Become Ragnarok, destroy Cocoon. So, I'm not sure if Sarah became a l'Cie because you two decided not to do your focus. I think Anima would have done that anyway. Like, it doesn't seem like... It feels like Vanille's blaming herself for something that she doesn't have any evidence was her fault, I guess. So... Yeah, I don't know. That's just the way that I'm seeing it anyway. Where was I? So Vanille was responsible for both Sarah and Dodge becoming l'Cie, apparently, but lacked the courage to admit the truth and beg forgiveness from the girl standing before her. Oblivious of Vanille's involvement in events, Sarah listened to the Grand Pulsion's problems and offered her encouragement. The coincidental meeting helped Vanille to make up her mind. Even if it meant becoming a Sith, she couldn't bring harm to the world Sarah loved so much. I feel like you need to internalize that rather than doing it for Sarah specifically, but yeah, no. Well, we'll talk about that part a little bit as well. I think one of my questions was on Vanille, if I remember right. Yeah, although it has more to do with Vanille and Fang specifically, rather than Vanille and Sarah, so we'll wait till we get a little further there. Day 10, gifts. Again, how did the jeweler know? It would be Lightning's birthday in 2 days. While out shopping for her present with Sarah, Snow slipped away to buy engagement necklaces. Okay, sure. He intended to propose to Sarah the very next day. He knew her fate as a l'Cie, but meant to stand by her no matter what. I don't know, it feels like a quick burn to me, but I think they had some relationship previous to this anyway. So, meanwhile, Sarah searched for a gift that would keep Lightning safe during her dangerous work as a soldier. After giving her sister the present, which was the survival knife that we've had in our key items for a while, Sarah planned to confess about becoming a l'Cie. I'm sure that went over really well for her. Day 11, Discovery. The Bodum vestige was a minor local landmark, paid little regard. Really? I still find that hard to believe. It's a giant monolith. Why would no one want to go to it? Like, why would you? You're not telling me why no one would want to go to it, but then the doors open and you're not telling me why someone would want to go to it. Like, if it's paid little regard, why does Sarah want to go to it? But at the same time, why is it paid little regard? Like, what did they do to make it that way? I don't know. I think I'm going in circles here. That changed on this night, which is day 11, when SciComm discovered that the relic's long-sealed entrance had somehow been opened. A reconnaissance team was sent inside, reporting the discovery of a pulse fal'Cie before communication links suddenly went silent. Those people are dead. Probably the Sith that we saw inside of there, actually. Deeming it probable that the soldiers had been made l'Cie, that's a strong way of putting it, the Sanctum then resealed the door to the vestige, trapping the team inside. How did they do that? If Anima's the one that opens it, how did they reseal the door? Did they put something in front of it? Did Anima break it in order to bring Sarah back into... Anyway. The following day brought public announcement of both the discovery and plans for the purge. And this implies to me that the purge is a new solution, right? It's not like something that they've done previous to this, because they haven't had to, because the public didn't pay any attention to this giant monolith in the lake, even though they've been salvaging pulse mechanical technology since 400 years ago. Okay, sure. Day 11, proposal. Snow proposed to Sarah under the brightly exploding fireworks, giving her renewed hope for the future. Sarah still didn't know what her focus was, and had yet to tell Lightning about her l'Cie curse. But with Snow by her side, there was no obstacle they couldn't overcome. Hand in hand, they watched the spectacle of lights illuminate the night sky. In Bodum, there's a legend. If you wish on the fireworks, your dreams will come true. Yeah, legend tracks in this case, I guess. Day 11, warning. Assigned to security detail during the fireworks display in Bodum, Lightning was suddenly released from duty by her superior, Lieutenant Amadar. SciComm had found something in the nearby vestige. Lightning immediately thought of the accident that took place in the energy plant 6 days earlier. Voicing her concern that the incidents may be pulse-related, Lightning's questions were deflected by the lieutenant, who advised her to avoid anything that involves the lower world. And again, being curious as she is, she did not avoid those things. Day 11, Mother and Son. Residents of Palimpolum, Hope and his mother came to Bodum to see the fireworks display. That same night, SciComm discovered the pulse fal'Cie slumbering within the vestige. The following day, the Sanctum announced the discovery and sealed off the entire district of Bodum. See, that I find more plausible. Like, right, they didn't seal the vestige itself. They sealed off the way in to the vestige from Bodum itself. Like, you could still get in with a bike because it happens. Snow flew over there with Sarah, and then Sarah got like slurped in by the goop from the Terminator 2 movie that the guy was made out of. But like the land routes, I guess, or the boat routes to the pulse vestige are cut off by a security detail of some kind. That I find more plausible than just they resealed the door. Okay, so that answers that, I guess. Trapped by the quarantine and unable to return home, mother and son were forced to join the other victims of the purge. That's fun. It's a great field trip for the kids, isn't it? Day 11, father and son. Daj suddenly decided, that he wanted to go to Bodum. Realizing this may be an effect of the boy's new power to detect pulse beings, Colonel Nabat permitted a SciComm-supervised excursion to the coastal town. It was the night of the fireworks show, but Saz's mood was not lightened by the beautiful display. The smiling face of his son, oblivious to the fate that awaited him, was more painful than the troubled father could bear. Meanwhile, the SciComm team scouring the area discovered the fal'Cie within the vestige. Daj must have reacted subconsciously to the presence of the lower world entity. Excuse me. So this is explaining what his powers are, right? Like, it shows us, here's what he can do, here's what he can sense. That's fine. I want that answered as well, and that's answered. The concern that I have is about his focus, but we'll talk about his focus in a minute. Day 11, fireworks. Their faces were all lit by the same display of fireworks. Lightning felt the creeping shadow of Pulse's menace. Snow and Sarah pledged themselves to each other and swore to overcome their destiny. Saz prayed for the salvation of his son, Daj. Hope could never have imagined losing his mother, Nora. Fang searched for her lost companion. And Vanille wished for a miracle. Good luck with you on that one, Vanille. Day 12, celebration. Sure it was. On Lightning's birthday, Sarah revealed she had become a Pulse l'Cie. That is a great birthday present, actually, to bring to the table. And had accepted Snow's proposal for marriage. Thinking her sister had made it all up, Lightning chased her from the room with harsh, biting words. Why didn't you just pull the bandage off? Like, it's kind of hard to ignore the giant tattoo on your arm. You know what I mean? Like, what do you mean you don't believe me? Look! By the time she realized Sarah was telling the truth, it was too late. Her sister had returned to the vestige and become a prisoner of the fal'Cie. The only thing Sarah had left behind was Lightning's birthday present, a survival knife, which that has passed hands several times at this point, but either way. Oh, I did think of something, by the way. Snow's weapon. If you look at his coat there on the left, his left arm, it's on the right side of that picture. There's that, like, belt-looking thing on his, on his bicep and his tricep. That's his weapon, right? Like, the emblem that they are talking about when they talk about what his weapon is, that's his weapon, the belt with the little circle thing on it. That circle thing actually changes depending on which weapon you equip, and that causes the back of his coat to light up with whatever the AMP energy is in that emblem. So I think I mentioned previously that it was sewn into the coat somehow, but I didn't really talk about how or where. That's where it is. It's inside of that little belt and circle thing. Which either means that Snow is good at sewing because he sews that in himself, or there's like a slot or something that you just kind of stick it into on that belt, and that's what the weapon is. Either way, I mean, I honestly, I'd be more okay with the sewing thing. I think that'd be kind of a funny secondary thing for Snow to be able to do. Day 12, taken. After announcing the discovery of the lower world being, the Sanctum instigated the Purge. Before the Pulse fal'Cie could be carried away and Sarah doomed to become a Seath, Snow had to get into the vestige and find out what her focus was. Are you sure Anima would tell you? No. Either way, he was going to go anyway. If they could figure out Sarah's task, then maybe Lightning would finally believe them. With that plan in mind, the young Nora leader brought his fiancée back to the place she was branded. Things went horribly wrong. No surprise there, and only Sarah entered the vestige as a prisoner of the fal'Cie. Snow explained the situation to Lightning before rushing off to rescue his future wife. Which, does that explain why he did the rebellion thing? Like, was the rebellion thing that they did just because they were on the Purge train and they decided, enough is enough, and then they used that as kind of like a screen to go into the vestige so that Snow could get there? I think that's what they did. They might tell me in a minute. Day 13, Exile. A fal'Cie of Pulse origin was discovered within a vestige on the outskirts of Bodum 2 days previously, having apparently spent centuries in hibernation with humans none the wiser to its presence. Still don't really buy that, but either way. The Sanctum deemed the potential contamination by Pulse magic a risk too great to overlook. Then why did you leave it there for 400 years? And immediately enacted legislation permitting the Purge, an involuntary removal of the fal'Cie and the entire population of Bodum from Cocoon. What is this? This brings another question to me, actually, now that I think about it. What is Bodum's role in the economy? And we're going to talk about the economy of Final Fantasy XIII in a little bit here as well. What is Bodum's role in the economy here? Because, like, the sociological perspective, right? If you put a business owner in jail because of a crime that they committed, what happens to that business? You know what I mean? Like, if the business has to close down because the boss isn't there anymore because they committed a crime and you put them in jail, you're talking about all of their employees being out of work now. You're talking about someone who potentially had a role in the community, who did something wrong, sure, but now any role that they had in the community is gone. So what is Bodom's role in the community of Cocoon that you're just able to just kill everyone in there and your economy continue to move without any problems? Like, is Bodom a retirement village with just a lot of kids in it? Like, do the people there work? What do they do? This is stuff that I'd want in the data log, because I wouldn't want that directly explained to me in universe, because if it was explained in universe, it would feel like exposition for no reason. But that's something I'd want answered in a data log entry, you know. So this was a very eventful 2 weeks. Yes, that is true, actually. Yeah, a lot of stuff happened here. Deportees were told only that they would be transported to Pulse. Thanks, that's real helpful. You're thinking more than the basic writing. Most people don't go this in-depth. Well, the reason why I'm going more in-depth, right, is because they gave me a data log for this. If I have supplemental questions, this is supposed to answer them, right? So, like, I would think that as developers who thought through this much stuff, they might have some of the answers that I have here. And to be fair, they've answered a couple of my questions already, so I'll give them credit where credit's due. They did answer a few questions. So, day 13, flight, and then we've got one more, and we're done with the 13 days. By the way, the last entry in the 13 days section here was when Vanille had that cutscene with Snow back in the Sulia Springs. So that was another reason why I didn't want to do the data log until after that, because then we could look at the whole 13 days in a row without any interruptions or without missing any entries. Is just get it all done right away, you know. So this is probably something they thought didn't matter that much. Yeah, and I guess that's the ultimate question then, right? Is that if this is something that you put surface level into, why put it in at all, I guess? Because you're putting in all these entries for what could have been almost, there's enough information here that could practically be another game here. But if it's not that important, do I need to see it? You know, like, I'm okay with the idea of the data log being used to explain previous events, because, I mean, you know, fair play. Sometimes people take a break from playing games like this and they need a refresher. That's fine. It's just, if you're going to do more than that, make sure that it answers questions. Like, don't just write something and don't question your own writing, right? Like, think about it from the perspective of somebody else who's reading your work. What questions might they have about your work? Is there something in there that you didn't explain that you now have a chance to explain because you have this supplemental data log that you can use to explain something that you couldn't explain while we're all fugitives from the law because we're all running away from people? Yes, now you have an opportunity to explain those things. But if you don't question that, I'm not saying they didn't question that, it just seems like in some cases they only question some things rather than looking at multiple perspectives. And I know there was more than one writer in this game, so like they had multiple perspectives that they could use to ask these questions. Did they? I don't know. So that's why I'm asking, is because I don't know what the situation was in the development room. You know what I mean? This is the questions that I want asked. And another, by the way, the ultimate goal of this exercise is primarily to talk about the fact that Final Fantasy XIII's criticisms online are primarily that it's linear and that the game can play itself through the auto battle system. And first of all, both of those are bullshit criticisms, because the auto battle system can be fixed by moving one option, and the linearity is less of a problem because it's story focused, right? The linearity is because we're running from the law. We're not going to stop for side quests when we're running from the law. I explained this already. The goal of this is to say that there are legitimate criticisms that you can have, or legitimate questions that you can have that the game doesn't fully explain, without just echoing what everybody else says. Oh, the game's too linear. No, it's backloaded. That's why it feels linear in the beginning, is because it's backloaded with side quests. You know what I mean? So that's the goal of this exercise, is let's look at it from a perspective of what else can we talk about here besides just it's too linear and it plays itself. Because those are bullshit, and I don't believe that those are the most worthwhile criticisms that the game can have. There's a lot more you can dig into and really latch onto in order to try to say, no, there's some stuff here that they could have thought about that I don't think they did. So, thank you for making me right tonight. I'm sleeping even worse. So, yeah, sorry about that. Less sleep is no good, but that's why we're doing this. Is the goal of this is not to rail on the game. The goal of this is to look at the game and say, no, there's ways that we can dig into this without just echoing the it's too linear bullshit. So I'm not just trying to, massacre this game. I already did that in 14, so I don't need to do that here. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Anyway, day 13, flight. Believing the Sanctum announcement that the Purge was a forced migration to Pulse, Vanille decided to board the train of her own free will. This could be her only chance to return home, where the Gorgonopsids would eat her for breakfast because she doesn't know how to fight anymore, so that's a great idea, Vanille. Vanille hated the idea of leaving Fang behind on Cocoon, so don't. But if she could make it back to the lower world, her focus would no longer be a danger to anyone. Maybe she couldn't change reality, but she could defy her fate by running away. Her encounter 4 days ago had given her the courage she needed to run away? Yeah, this is part of the question that I had for Vanille, right? Yeah. Yep, and we'll talk about it actually because it's less about that and more about the lying, but we'll talk about the lying in a minute. After discovering that Sarah was being... Oh, this is day 13, volunteering. This is the last one. After discovering that Sarah was being held captive by the Pulse Fal'Cie, Lightning volunteered herself to be purged. The Fal'Cie was to be transported away from Cocoon along with the Purge deportees. Lightning needed to board the train and reach the lower world entity before Sarah was taken beyond her reach. Saz, too, had his reasons for approaching Lightning and joining her as she headed for the Pulse Fal'Cie. The train carried them away, bound for the restricted zone known as the Hanging Edge, and we've played the rest, right? Like, we've already established what the rest of this was. So, okay, so that's the 13 days. Now let's look at the questions that I have. And we'll start with the beginning one. The very first question that I had about this whole thing is, why does Lightning apologizing to Sarah open the door to the Pulse Fal'Cie back in Chapter 1? Anima is not Sarah, so did Anima open the door because Anima realized that several people were coming to rescue Sarah and had otherwise had their own reasons for being there? Because at the time, the only people who were in there, let's see. Well, the doors were open as far as I'm aware because they got blasted open by the rebellion. So Hope and Vanille were in there, Snow was in there, Lightning and Saz were moving in there. So is this just like a gambit by Anima to say, hey, there's 5 people in here now, I can use them to destroy Cocoon? I think if we're going to find anything, we're probably going to find it in here in Anima's entry, which is a single page, so maybe not, actually. I would prefer a little more to talk about what Anima's motivations are. But anyway, this Fal'Cie had been hibernating deep within the Bodum vestige. It branded Sarah, as well as Lightning, Snow, and the others, condemning them all to the grim fate of Pulse Fal'Cie. Although it appears Anima was brought to Cocoon in the vestige centuries ago, Sanctum authorities had no knowledge of the alien stowaway's presence. Its discovery, and the resultant fear that Bodum's population may have been tainted by its magic, spawned the Purge. And that's all fine and good, but that's stuff that we've kind of gotten already. I mean, I guess the Bodum's population may have been tainted by its magic thing. It seems weird, though, right? They know how Cocoon Fal'Cie work. What makes them think Pulse Fal'Cie work any differently? Did Bartandalus tell them that they work differently? I mean, actually, that's plausible, because Bartandalus can say whatever the hell he wants, and everyone in Cocoon will believe him. So that's a thing. But I would preferred to know if Anima was pulling a gambit there, you know what I mean? Where it's like, okay, well, I opened the door because, then now there's 5 people that can do this. And it seems like that's the plausible thing, right? Because, if it was just Snow, Hope, and Vanille, those are 2 children, and Snow, who is also basically a child, so can they be trusted to destroy the whole planet? No, probably not. So... next one that I had, that was the one that I was going to ask about Sarah exploring the Pulse Vestige. We've kind of talked about this already, though, because, was it just her curiosity, you know what I mean, that caused her to do this? As we've established previously, this Purge is a new solution. It's not something that they've done before this. So that's that. You're learning how to die in obsidian tonight. Thank you. I don't actually know what that means. I don't know if I know what obsidian is, but you're welcome and sorry, I think. Let's look at people, though, because, again, maybe we can see from Sarah's entry if there's anything here that would hint to us that she has that blatant curiosity that apparently no one else in Bodham had, despite the fact that they did after it was... Oh, whatever. Sarah is Lighting's younger sister and Snow's fiancée. Also a Pulse L'Cie, she has gained eternal life and slumbers in crystal stasis. Snow believes that their focus is to save the world, as Sarah wished. To Tantalus explains that her task was simply to gather the tools for Cocoon's destruction. Was Sarah nothing more than a pawn, an unwitting enemy of Cocoon? This is not enough information. I'm just going to state that flat out. That is not enough information for me to glean anything about Sarah as a person. This is the people section, Final Fantasy XIII. I need to understand who these people are as people if you're going to write a people section. This is a good refresher, to be clear. It's a good refresher on what happened in the story, but if I wanted a story refresher, I would want to go to, like, the events tab, which would probably tell me it says recent events. Here's all the chapters. Here's all the things that happened in this chapter. Put that in here. You know what I mean? If you're going to write a biography for the person, make sure the biography tells me more about the person than the events surrounding the person. Because if you're talking about the person, then I get to know, okay, this is why Sarah's curious. Okay, this is why Sarah went into the Pulse Fallacy. Even though for 400 years, apparently, no one else did. It just... I need to know that. And we don't have an answer. I've looked this up, by the way. I knew this ahead of time. They wouldn't have an answer to this. Because it's not in Sarah's data entries. And to be fair, it was on the Final Fantasy wiki that I looked it up. And I don't know how reliable those guys are anymore. I don't edit any of their articles like I did like 12 years ago. So I did a little bit of editing in their articles 12 years ago. But... yeah, that was where I looked it up, and there's just nothing that I can see. Probably my better answer there would be to look in the Ultimania for this game, but if I look in the Ultimania, I'm going to get pissed because then they're going to justify the retconning that they do later on for Final Fantasy XIII to even exist, so I don't... No. Obsidian is a program that lets you organize your ideas. It's great for writing until you link 30 things to each other. Oh, Jesus. Okay, yeah, I could see that being a problem. So yeah, again, you're welcome and also sorry. But I'm glad that your ideas are being organized. That's nice. That's helpful. Okay, now we can talk about... Well, we're on the people section, so we can talk about Daj's focus. I need to know what Daj's focus was. Specifically, what Daj's focus was. So we're going to look in Daj's biography, and we're going to look in the events of Chapter 8 to see if they explain what Daj's focus is specifically. I need a clear-cut answer as to what it is. It cannot be nebulous anymore. You need to tell me what it is. And I'll tell you why once we look into this a little bit. So let's look at Daj first. Daj is Saz's only child. His mother passed away 3 years ago. That's good information, thank you. But instead of being miserable, he bravely comforts his grieving father. During the incident, the Erde Gorge energy plant, Daj is made into a Sanctum L'Cie with the ability to sense the power of Pulse Origin. Although he discovers the fallacy in Bodham, his true focus, capturing Pulse L'Cie, thank you, that's actually helpful because I have follow-up questions now, is learned when he is reunited with his father and turns to Crystal. Here's my follow-up question for you, Final Fantasy XIII. How does a 6-year-old capture anyone? Right? Like... That is a loaded word, capture. Capture implies... I know you guys know English. You translated this whole fucking game. Capture implies that you create something as a captive, right? This is a 6-year-old we're talking about. He cannot make anything captive. He is incapable of making anything but like an ant or a bird or something smaller than him captive. How does a 6-year-old capture Pulse L'Cie? I get the point they're making here because in the cutscene, they literally had him wrap his arms around his dad's leg and specifically say, "Gotcha, Daddy!" And that's capturing. That's bullshit, okay? No. Don't even start with that shit. That's dumb, okay? That's really stupid. Because, again, he's a 6-year-old. He can't capture anything. So then, what's the focus? Is the focus bring Saz to me? Bring the Pulse L'Cie to me? Bring the Pulse L'Cie to SciComm? That last one I could actually see being plausible, although SciComm wasn't immediately there when Dodge was there, but they showed up right afterwards, so I suppose they probably brought Dodge there. But if the focus was bring Pulse L'Cie to SciComm, how did Kujata know that there would be Pulse L'Cie before the rest of Cocoon, including Bartandalus, according to what we've seen so far? No one knew Anima was in the Pulse Vestige until day 11. This happened on day 4, I think, or day 5, one of the two. The point is, it happened almost a week before anybody knew Anima existed, and therefore it happened almost a week before anyone knew there would be more Pulse L'Cie. Hell, it happened before anyone knew there were any Pulse L'Cie at all, and Kujata was alarmed to find 2 of them just kind of hanging out. How'd they get there? So this is the part that disagrees with me. What is Dodge's focus? Is it bring Saz to me? If it is bring Saz to me, or bring Pulse L'Cie to me, or bring them to SciComm, how did Kujata know a week ahead of time that there would be more Pulse L'Cie? You know, like, that doesn't make any sense to me. It's a sticking point for me because they did that deliberately. They used the word capture here very specifically because of the way that they created the cutscene in Chapter 8, where he wrapped his arms around his dad's leg and said, "Gotcha, Daddy." Is it a big deal? No, I'm not really pissed about it, to be honest. It's just, it's really on the nose. And you're really stretching the word capture there. So that's, I guess, the part that sticks for me a little bit, is that it's like, no, this is really like, this is a thin thread that you're pulling on here, guys. So, yeah, the fal'Cie are kind of goobers, just a bit, yeah. Just a little bit. All right, so that's that part. We can go back now to the thing that I talked about before. I don't even know where to start looking for this, honestly, in the data log, which is, what is the purpose of money in the Final Fantasy XIII universe? There's obviously additional questions that I have to this. So let's talk about those. First one, obviously, like I said, what purpose does money serve in the 13 universe? Why do vendors sell to known fugitives and criminals on Cocoon? Wouldn't that hurt their business model since everybody is propagandized into hating L'Cie? For that matter, how does hating L'Cie work on Cocoon? Period. Because based on the game's rhetoric, what we've heard just in the story so far, Cocoon L'Cie are considered heroes. They're put in Eden on display. Everybody says, oh, look at this hero that did this stuff for us. But the general population is still afraid of becoming any kind of L'Cie. Why? If they could become heroes by becoming L'Cie, wouldn't everybody be lining up outside the door to the Cocoon fal'Cie saying, give me something to do? And I guess that's kind of tangential to the whole money question, but it does make me wonder how that works, you know what I mean? It makes me wonder what's the mechanism behind the money and what's the mechanism behind the propaganda, because they probably go hand in hand. Do the people work because the propaganda tells them that they need to work in order to pay the Pulse L'Cie tax or something to keep them off of Cocoon? I don't fucking know, but like, is there a reason for the money, and does that reason have something to do with the propaganda? You know what I mean? Like, are the people forced to work? Because who would work in a situation like this, right? Like, if you're given every want and need, who would work? Capitalism isn't inherent to the human condition, guys. It's a construct. People used it in order to make people do things, okay? Like, it's not just something we do. So that's the question. And I don't even know where to start looking. I guess we could look in like history and myth or something. Is Cocoon even in here? This talks about Pulse fal'Cie and Pulse L'Cie. I mean, I guess. It doesn't really say anything in there. Okay, Cocoon Society. Maybe this will have something. Hang on, let's take a look in here. Is there anything in here that screams economy to me? Bioweapons, maybe. Amp technology, maybe. Maybe the Sanctum. Chocobos. Yeah, let's look at the Sanctum, bioweapons, and amp technology, because those might give us a clue I think, as to like why does money exist here, and also maybe why do they sell to known fugitive? Because like, here's my thing, right? We get our key cards, right, to get into the shops from dead enemies. And so I guess in a way you could say, okay, it's plausible because you're just using the ID of that dead person in order to get into the shop, right? But you're telling me that this is a world where they can find Pulse Lassie within 8 seconds of them leaving a sewer system, with them having no idea that we were there previous to this. And by the way, you can't use Dodge as an excuse for Chapter 7. Dodge was on the other side of Cocoon at this point, so he could not find Lightning and Hope coming out of that sewer system. He was on his way to Nautilus. They can find these people within 7 seconds of them leaving the sewage system, but they can't tell someone's dead? How? What? That doesn't make any fucking sense. So this is what I mean, right? Is there are parts of the game where you can dig, right, without just dredging up the linearity card again. Let's look at some of this, because it might explain what I'm talking about, and I might just, insert my foot into my mouth. I kind of hope I will, because I'd like an answer to this, rather than just ranting about this for an hour. Cocoon's central government, the Sanctum, holds supreme executive, legislative, and judicial power. They are judge, jury, and executioner. It also maintains directive authority over the military. This says nothing about the economy, I notice. It says stuff about political and military, not economy. Despite the fact that Cocoon was built by the fal'Cie and not by humans, fal'Cie opts to participate only superficially in government affairs. Yeah, that's a laugh, Bartandalus. Leaving Cocoon's administration entirely at the discretion of the human Sanctum and its Primarch, Galanth Daisley. I think this is the weak point of having data log entries unlock at certain points in the story, though, right? Because, like, at this point we know now, right? No, Daisley is not human. He is the fal'Cie Bartandalus, and this disagrees with what we know about him, and this entry is now obsolete. But it's possible that this entry came up before we learned that he was a fal'Cie, and they just did not update it. Which, yeah, I mean, fair play, I guess, but, like, you could have updated it, I guess. If you're going to write this and let me read it at any point in the game, maybe update it when I get new information. Bioweapons. Maybe this will explain it. No, that's talking about behemoths. Never mind. I was thinking maybe this had something to do with, like, the weapons that we're using. Excuse me. The Sanctum has developed a vast arsenal of weaponry to defend against the constant threat of Pulse, and these living weapons are one of the many fruits its research has borne. Ordinary Cocoon wildlife transformed into efficient killing machinery through selective breeding, intense training, and physical augmentation. Bioweapons retain all the raw power and feral fury of their natural counterparts while obeying the commands of their handlers with unwavering loyalty. And that's all fine and good. They're experimenting with genomes and basically, selective breeding and, using nanotechnology and all that other stuff there. Cool. Why are those people being paid to do that? I get it. They're trying to protect against the Pulse invaders, but, like, why are they asking for payment for this? You know what I mean? Is there a reason why those scientists are being paid to do this? Will they not do the research unless they're paid? And in which case, why? It brings me back to the central question, right? What's the purpose of money in this world? And, well, we're going to see if we get an answer. Again, I may just not be searching through enough of the data log, but if that kind of indicates to me that you need to be a little more clear about certain things, right? Like, okay, if the player has a question about why money works in this universe, you could either have an entry that says money or gil, or you could just laugh me off and say lol capitalism, in which case I will say, I mean, okay, if you want to be that surface level about it, sure. Antimatter Manipulation Principle, AMP, forms the foundation for a variety of technological wonders, enabling phenomena ranging from phase-space interference, which is the Digimon gates that they use to summon the behemoths, to manipulation of gravitational force, which Lightning hasn't used since Chapter 1? 2? Something like that. Humans ordinarily lack the means to wield magic, but through the use of mana drives, another product of the principle, it is possible to synthesize its effects. It makes me wonder if, like, they figured that out from Pulse fal'Cie, like the mana drives and the magic, or if the Cocoon fal'Cie gave them this AMP technology somehow. You know what I mean? Like, where did it come from? I guess it tells us it's there. It just doesn't tell us like where it comes from. You know what I mean? Because I'd be interested in reading more about that. You know what I mean? I hate to bring in another game about this, but I feel like when I have questions in Mass Effect, the Codex answers most of them. This just kind of tells me, I mean, it tells me some stuff, but it tells me that it's there. It doesn't tell me why it's there, you know, which is the part that I'd rather know about, is the why of it. So, yeah, I mean, maybe in locales we could look. Here, let's look in Bodum, because maybe if we look in the Bodum entry, maybe it'll tell us why it exists, right? This modest city by the sea is the hometown of Lightning and Sarah, as well as that of Snow and the members of Nora. Known for its relaxing, resort-like atmosphere, the location is a popular destination for vacationers. So this is even worse, right? Like, you think about it. Okay, so it's a tourist location. That means that you are killing people that have their fingers in the pies of multiple town economies across Cocoon. And you're just killing them. Is it because they're replaceable? If they are replaceable, why are they replaceable? What purpose does money serve if these people who have enough money to vacation can just be killed off for no reason? Can you replace them? It brings back to the central question. What's the purpose of money here? Do you want me to just throw Gil at the screen? Is that the purpose of money? Do I get Gil tossed later? Bodum's largest tourist draw is its annual beachfront fireworks display, but this year's event was ruined by the discovery of the Pulse Fal'Cie within the nearby vestige. The Sanctum quarantined the city on the day after the discovery, announcing its plan to purge Bodum's entire population, along with the hapless tourists, to Pulse. I still think that's a bad idea, because the economy doesn't function if you just keep killing people. Of course, you think about it this way, though. Here's a counterpoint that I'm going to make to my own point here. Does Bartandalus care if the economy of Cocoon functions, right? At this point, we know that his plan is to cause a mass genocide on Cocoon. That's what he talked about in his speech when he had Sarah, quote-unquote, say, you know, there's no gods to save us. That's why we need to call one. His plan is to have everyone on Cocoon die. And that will call the Maker, quote-unquote, back into the world to fix whatever problems he has with the planet. So I'm not sure if Bartandalus cares if the economy functions. That might be why he's instigating a purge, is because he's like, whatever, fuck these people. They just need to die, and that's the most important part of this whole plan. If they die, I get what I want. It still doesn't explain why money works, but at least it explains why he's so blatantly evil about it, I guess. So I think we can move on from the money issue, though. Like, I don't really see anything here where I'm like, yeah, we can probably find out why that happens. I don't think we really got an answer on the hating l'Cie part either, right? Like, they're afraid of becoming any kind of l'Cie, but Cocoon l'Cie are considered heroes. Is the Pulse l'Cie fear just so high that they, you know, it just interferes with everything? Or how does that work? And then again, the other question that I have is with this is, how does SciComm always know where every character is, no matter what chapter we're playing? Because they're on our ass for the entire game. And they explain it somewhat, because they say, well, Daj's focus, or Daj's l'Cie powers, allow him to track Pulse origin magic. So he can track Pulse l'Cie, because they can use Pulse magic. That's fine. Daj is not present in Chapter 7. How did they know? I mean, the only thing I can think is that the Flanators ratted me out, right? Like the Flanborgs and the Flanators in the sewage system that were healing each other. The sirens were so loud that... and this is stupid, right? Like, the sirens were so loud, or they're linked up to some sort of security system, and when it got breached, they were like, no, something's down there. But, like, what if it was a rat or something? Like, what if they bring out the whole SciComm invasion force to take care of a Pulse l'Cie threat, and out from this elevator walks a 6-inch long mouse? Like, can you imagine the embarrassment? Like, how would these poor soldiers ever recover from this? Like, you gear up for this huge threat. It's like, oh, okay, false alarm. Everybody go home. Like, the fuck? Anyway, one of my other questions. I still want to know what happened to Hope's dad, actually, because the impression that we got is that the cavalry took care of him. But it kind of goes hand in hand with another question I have, which is what happened to the cavalry after Chapter 9? Did they... Because, like, we got off of the Palamecia, and we just sort of went on Minerva's little ship thing, right? Minerva's the owl, by the way, that Bartandalus uses. And we just sort of went on Minerva and went on our merry way. What happened to the cavalry? When we didn't show back up again, I mean, Cid, he went to the Fifth Arc somehow. I don't know how he figured that part out, but where'd the rest of the cavalry go? Did they just say, oh, well, I mean, I guess they failed, and they just left? Like, there was a big sky battle happening. Were they involved? And in that regard, are they alive? Are they dead? Do they still... I mean, obviously they're still alive because Bartandalus plans to use the cavalry to take out Orphan. How much of them are still around? Especially now that Cid is no longer their leader. Like, I'd like answers to that, and I'd like to know where Bartholomew S-Time is, because he is currently MIA. And I don't know if this is going to tell me where he is. Probably not, but let's see. Bartholomew is Hope's father, but he has difficulties relating to his teenage son. Though deeply upset by his wife's death, he sees how much Hope has grown during the subsequent events and encourages him to find his own path and make his own decisions. Now wanted by the Sanctum for his actions in aiding Pulse Lassie, Bartholomew is currently under the protection of the cavalry. And that seems bizarre, right? Because, like, I know they have to make a push, right? Because they're trying to free Cocoon from fal'Cie rule. But they're safeguarding civilians at this point. Can you afford to make that push when you're safeguarding civilians? Like, you're putting their lives at risk. Are their lives worth the struggle? I mean, I guess maybe. They could probably justify that and say, yes, of course it's worth the struggle. It means humans are free. And it's like, yeah, that's a great ideology, sir, but, like, do you know what you're doing? Because you're not doing what you think you're doing. What else have I got? Oh, yeah, here's a stupid question I have. Speaking of Yag Rosh being on the screen. Why does Cocoon's shield system lock out non-pulse forces? This was in Chapter 9. It happened at the very end of Chapter 9. I don't know if it's even going to show us this. It might show it here. Blah, blah, blah. Fleet. Their craft is guided by an unseen power that protects them from Colonel Rosh's onslaught and flies them towards the reality hidden beneath the capital of Cocoon. Yeah, this doesn't explain it. Why is Rosh locked out of the shielding system around, I would assume Eden is the place where Minerva flew us, because the Fifth Arc was right below Eden. So why did Rosh get locked out of Eden? How did the shield block him if he is of Cocoon origin and he's the second highest, well, I guess the first highest military leader in Cocoon now because Nabat's dead. So then that was really unceremonious. Like, why is he locked out? Like, it only makes sense because it allows our characters to escape from him, but if you were just going to teleport them into the Fifth Arc anyway, just, teleport them in. And just make him not know where they are. Don't lock him out of the system, because that doesn't make any sense. So, what else we got? What happened to the cavalry after Chapter 9? I guess we already kind of got an answer to that, just from the actual gameplay. And then the last question that I really have is, why did Vanille feel the need to lie to Fang for so much time after Chapter 9, where she said she wasn't going to lie to her anymore? And this despite being handed the answer to her problems by Sarah before the game even started. Sarah told her, quite literally, that, if I remember the words correctly, I forget exactly what the words were, but, like, she said something to the effect of, like, running away from the people that you care about, that isn't love. Something to that effect. I remember her saying something like, that isn't love, and it's like, no, that's the answer, Vanille, right there. That's your whole, reason to be. As a lassie, you have a person in your life that's important to you that you can fight for. It's Fang. So why are you lying to her? Is that gonna help you protect her? Sarah literally told you, no, it won't help you protect her. It's only going to push her away. They've resolved this at this point, but, like, it just seems bizarre that she said in Chapter 9, when Saz and her were breaking out of prison, I'm not going to lie to her anymore. And then she spent however many hours still lying to her. Like, Vanille, what are you doing? Excuse me, and why are you doing it? It's not what you just said you were going to do. It's not helping you. Why are you doing it? And again, I think it makes her feel human, I suppose, because obviously it's hard for people to change, and she's a kid. Well, she's a teenager, but still a kid. But, like, you don't just, in a story, you don't just have someone say, I'm not going to lie anymore, and then they just go on lying. You know what I mean? Like, that's called unreliable narrative, if I remember correctly from my English classes. It makes Vanille feel like a weaker character, I guess, is the point, is because she says something and then she doesn't, work at it with her conviction. It feels like she's wishy-washy, you know what I mean? Which doesn't make her seem like she's a secondary protagonist at this point. She's one of the main characters in the party. So her feeling wishy-washy on this stuff after the point where she's had, 8 chapters worth of character development potential, I don't know, it just feels weird to me. It feels like they shouldn't have it there. It should be earlier or something. So it's the trope where the character grows enough to realize the answer was in front of them all along. Yeah, I guess, 2 chapters after she kind of already did that. But either way, those were all the questions that I had. We did get some answers, so I'm going to give the data log some points, honestly, because they did answer some of the questions that I had. Some of the other ones that are, I would say, fairly significant to how the world works and to my immersion did not get answered, which is a little disappointing. But I suppose that kind of says that the data log has some use, right? Like the data log's primary purpose, and this is actually the first time that I'm really going deep in depth, and we've only scratched the surface of the data log. But it shows to me that the primary purpose of the data log is to look back on events and people and entries if you've taken a break from the game and you don't remember what's going on. That's the primary function here. It's not necessarily to explain supplemental material. There is a lot of other things in here, but a lot of the entries that talk about the supplemental material only tell you that something exists rather than why it exists. If you're going to write something like this that's supplemental to this stuff, the reason why someone's going to go into the data log in the first place is because they're asking, why does this exist? It's not that, does this exist? No, you can get that right from the story, because the story can give you the basic components that this exists. Okay, cool, this exists. Why does this exist? Who the fuck knows? I mean, we can ask that question about some things, like the fal'Cie. We can go into this and be like, okay, why does Carbuncle exist? And we can go into Carbuncle, and here you go. Carbuncle is the Sanctum fal'Cie charged with food production. That's all you really need to know. Those aren't the questions I'm asking. Like, you go deeper than the surface level here, and it's no explanation all the way down, you know what I mean? So, like, if you need to ask a why that goes beyond something easy, like why does Carbuncle exist, your mileage may vary with the data log. And it makes me wonder, why is it here if that's the case? And again, the reason is not because it answers the why necessarily, it's because it answers the what and kind of skimps on the why in some cases. So what was the point of that whole thing? Like I said, the point of that whole thing was to kind of dig a little deeper into the inner workings of Final Fantasy XIII's systems and say, can you go deeper with the criticisms than simply saying that the game is linear? And the answer is yes. There's a lot to unpack that the data log doesn't explain, if you have questions beyond the initial plot. Do I think that the plot is serviceable without the data log completely? Yes. But again, that brings another question. Why does the data log exist at all if it's not necessary to understand the plot? And I mean, I don't personally think it is necessary to understand the plot, right? Because, like, if you're having trouble with the pronouns, I understand that part. But by the time you've gotten through into Chapter 3, they've kind of beaten into your head, okay, fal'Cie are the machine overworlds of the world. l'Cie are the people that they choose to do something. A focus is their mission. And a Seath is what they turn into if they don't do that mission. That is confusing initially because I said it myself. You guys are playing the pronoun game with me at the beginning of the game, but they explain the pronouns as they go. They give you the idea so you can ask the question and then they answer it. That's fine. So, yeah, I guess that's all I really have to say about the data log. I don't know necessarily if this was, well, necessary to talk about, but I feel a little bit better having dug into it so that way it's like, I know for sure that I've talked about it, you know what I mean? So it's not like we're just leaving it there and me saying, oh, you don't need to read that, don't worry about that. Now we know whether or not it's something that you should read, and the answer to should you read the data log is it depends on the question, right? So I needed to know that for myself, just so that way I was aware. Oh, okay, this is the end of it. I'm just taking a look at what I have to buy here. I can get these now. I'm going to get these now just so that way they're done, because everybody else is done, so... I know I'm not at a save point and I'm doing this, but I just spent an hour expositing on the data log, so I'm going to make an exception, I guess. Alright, so Snow needs 10, 18, 26,000, so 20,000 more CP, and then he's done, and we don't have to do that anymore. Alright, anyway, sorry for the hold-up, gang. Let's go do a few more missions. And we get to go back to the Northern High Plain to start them, so that's fun. Guess now is the time to organize the skeleton of your fan fiction. Is it like a Final Fantasy XIII fan fiction, and you were waiting for data log explanations before we got into it? Before you got into it, I should say. But yeah, I mean, you'll have some time now because I'm here for 45 more minutes and then we're done. And even so, even still with us having done the data log stuff, I'm still pretty sure we'll finish everything on Pulse that I wanted to do by the time, whatchamacallit, tomorrow's stream is over. If not, it'll be like the very beginning of Sunday's stream. And after that, we've got like, I want to say 8 hours of game left and then it's over. So like, I'm okay with spending a little bit of time. I don't mind spending a little bit of time just chatting this stuff up. I mean, I spent all that time going over codex entries in Mass Effect when I played that for my channel a while ago, so this doesn't really bug me, you know. It's something that I've never dug into before, so I figure if I'm going to play this game anyway, I may as well dig into it for my own sake as well as for the sake of being more complete with it, you know. So... Oh, Department Heaven? Okay. Long Forgotten Story by Sting Entertainment. Yeah, I think you may have mentioned Department Heaven at one point previously, but that's like the only thing I've heard about any of it is just the name of it when you've mentioned it previously. So I would like to state that I've grown as a person as well because I didn't go immediately back to take on that Behemoth King and Magister Therian as soon as we teleported to the North High Plain. I think it's because of the fact that in order to get to this next Seath Stone, it's actually up where we fought the Juggernaut, so I know I'm going to get a lot of CP in this little hallway. Don't really need a 6600 when we've got these guys, and they go down smooth at this point, so... Like, look at how smooth they go down. And look at that! Ain't nothing to it. Especially when Hope's blasting them with Thundaga. Now, if we get a preemptive strike, he will almost immediately blast them with Thundaga, which will probably vaporize most of the enemy party. So that's nice. Exactly, Sting didn't finish that game series, so the story has a lot of room for fan fictions to grow. Okay, well, fair enough. I think a lot of the, like, when I wrote some fan fiction stuff way back in the day, I think that was where my focus was like in a world that was established previously, but it had enough room for you to kind of ask questions about it, rather than like you were like some fan fiction is like you're working with characters that already exist, and I've never really liked writing stuff like that where I'm like writing characters that already exist and I'm trying to write them in different ways, because it's like, no, because the developer of that character may not have wanted that character to do that, you know? So I don't think I need to click anything. Okay, never mind, they missed the hoplites over here, so I was gonna say, if they can catch all these guys with the Thundagas and Blitzes, I probably don't need to click a single button here. So yeah, I think that was where I preferred writing fan fiction-y stuff. I haven't written anything fan fiction in years at this point. It's been over a decade, honestly, since I wrote anything fan fiction-wise. But I've written a few I've written a few original pieces at this point that never really have seen. I don't have to press anything. There we go. 1 Firaga done. Nice work, Hope. 2380 CP for a 1-second fight. Nice job, Hope. Now, if I get a preemptive strike over here, though, that will also... Okay, no preemptive strike from me. But this battle would have taken like 3 seconds if I had done that, because he would have thrown a Firaga, and that would have been it, so... Okay, I'll do a Fire and a Thundara. Just so that way we can get a little extra damage off on the hoplites that are getting hit in the background.
Easy.
Yep, that's why you grinded here. Yep, just 1-second fight. It's already over, and the Thundagas are so satisfying to watch. For sure. Like, just... You get a preemptive strike, just bzzz, everything's dead. Sorry, that was probably a really loud noise on the mic, but I suppose I have been going over my levels today a lot. Like, I was looking over while I was doing data log stuff, and I was like... There was red showing up on the audio there. A little bit. Especially when I was yelling at certain points. It's possible, too, that I have the mic too close to me, or I just had the volume up a little bit too high, so maybe it's catching a little more. I don't know. Sometimes my voice goes a little lower, though, so like I try to keep it at a volume where it'll catch my highs and my lows, you know? So. Excuse me. Imagine if someone maxed out the cast before they got to Erba. Well, see, and that's the thing, right, is that you can only go up to maximum stage 8 by the time you get to Erba. You can't unlock stage 9 until after you beat Bartandalus. So, and you can only carry 999,000 CP. So you could max them all out at stage 8, but it wouldn't quite be the same as, like... I mean, I get what you're saying, but it wouldn't quite be the same as, like... everybody being at max stage 10 or something like that, you know what I mean? Like, they railroad you just a little bit here because they don't want you getting that strong to the point where you can just massacre the game. But, yeah, no, the bonuses that you'd get from maxing everyone at stage 8, it would take a long time because secondary rolls take a lot to buy, but, yeah, it would make people quite a bit stronger, and Bartandalus would probably go down quite a bit easier as a result of all of the roles that you have access to. So, because then you could kind of have everybody do a little bit of everything, you know. By the way, isn't this a little bizarre? Mission 29 is Faltering Faith. You're fighting a Juggernaut, but in order to even be able to access this mission, you have to have fought a Juggernaut already. And the one in the mission, you can get a preemptive strike on, so... I don't know, maybe that's just me that it seems a little strange. The club and spire of Tajin's Tower forms the bridge between the Archaeal Steppe and the outlying lands, yet a rampaging Juggernaut now bars all passage, and I have been charged with its disposal. Why do the fal'Cie value that place so? Why do they protect it and yet stand idly by when our village is threatened? I sense the place must guard some secret of theirs. It's a fair question, sir. Let's go see if we can answer that question. Now, I can't, like, use this to teleport somewhere, right? No, the B is just, or rather the yellow is just because it's a B rank mission. It's not a teleport stone. Fair enough. Beat the super boss before Bartandalus would just be hilarious if that was the thing. Yeah, that's for sure, actually. And probably, honestly, you could probably do it if you used poison to beat the super boss, because the super boss, for some weird godforsaken reason, is vulnerable to poison damage. So I don't know why that works, but it would probably be a very difficult fight, though. So, but you could probably do it. So, you know. Oh, he missed the Firaga. That's unfortunate. That'll make this take a little longer, but that's okay. Never mind, it won't take much longer after that. Good Lord, Hope. I feel like they did that because the thing is spongy. Yeah, no, it's definitely spongy. Oh my god. And it can heal itself, too. Like, it does that thing that Zodiark does in Final Fantasy XII, where it just says, no, fuck you, I'm immune to all damage for a certain amount of time. Now, I don't think it's as egregious as Zodiark does in Final Fantasy XII, because in 12, Zodiark is after you get rid of like Zodiark's first 2/3 of his HP. Like the first 2/3 of his HP goes down easy, but after that point, like he'll put up a physical paling or a magical paling, but you just switch the type of damage. After you get him down to 1/3 of his HP, he just decides, okay, so for 55 out of every 60 seconds from now until when the boss fight is finished, I'm immune to all damage whatsoever. And also, I can cast Darkjaw on you, which has a chance of instant death. Even if you absorb dark damage, you can still just get killed by it. Oh, okay. Snow's sending him to the moon now, too. That's fun. We don't talk about Zodiark in 12. That was a guidebook boss. Oh my god. I hate the Zodiark fight in 12. When we play 12 for the stream, we are not doing that fight. I would rage so fucking hard. Like, it's funny. The funny thing is that I was actually going to talk later today about PTSD from the Henny Mines because, well, the bonus area that we're going to go to once we get to Mission 30 is in a mine. And when we go there, there's going to be a little PTSD. Just a forewarning, I guess. I've got a little PTSD from the Henny Mines and from fighting Zodiark. It's not my finest moment in the Final Fantasy series, that's for sure. So, all right, Snow, I think you're done at this point. We've gone through the hallway of power twice, basically. So, yeah, you should be done. I do not blame you in the slightest. Yeah, no, I probably need therapy from that shit, honestly. Like, it's that bad. I think we will. There is actually a mine, though, if I'm thinking about it correctly, that I will go through the bonus section of it for one of the bosses, but it's for an obvious reason. It's because it's a recurring boss in the series that I enjoy, and that's good enough of a reason for me to say, no, I'll go fight through this bonus section that I don't really have to in order to fight a boss that I'm probably not ready for. Like, it's a boss that's it's a boss that is a rank 7 mark, if I remember correctly, an elite mark at that, and mostly, like, the way that I'm planning on doing the 12 playthrough is that, and the way that I did this the last time I played Zodiac Age, which was in, like, 2020, is I did all of the rank 1 marks first, including the elite rank 1 marks, before I touched any of the rank 2 marks whatsoever. So if there was another rank 1 mark that was unlocked later, I didn't touch any rank 2 marks that were unlocked, and then did all the rank 2 marks. Once those were done, then I do the rank 3 marks, and so on and so forth. I didn't go past the rank 5 marks, if I remember correctly. I don't think I did any of the rank 6s or any of the rank 7s except for the one that's given to you, the elite mark that I'm talking about, that's a recurring boss. So, but that's probably what we're going to do when we do the stream for 12, is I'm probably going to do it exactly that way, because it was a lot better doing it that way than it was trying to do, like trying to do rank 5 marks when you've barely touched the rank 2 marks is just tantamount to suicide, honestly. Like, we don't fight the Trickster the first time we go to Paramina Rift, okay? If you do, you're asking for trouble. That boss, yeah, that one. So, the next fight that we're doing is Mission 32. It's actually in the Valus Media, so I'm going to go there. Well, the mark isn't in the Valus Media, but the stone is. The mark is on the steps, so we'll probably be right back to the North High Plain in about 2 seconds to go do that fight. So, I guess I could go just out of the Valus Media, though, and just ride Chocobo from the Central Expanse. Wait, doesn't that mean you're... Okay, you said it. Okay. Yeah, What did I say that... Wait, doesn't that mean you're... I mean, I am planning on fighting the Trickster, if that's what you're wondering. It's just I'm not going to fight it until much later in the game when we fought other rank 5 marks to compensate for the fact that it's a rank 5 mark. So, I don't know if that answers your question, but if I need to be more clear on something, just let me know. So, but yeah, we're probably going to fight. I think if I remember correctly, there's 45 marks, including the elite marks in Final Fantasy XII, and I'm planning on fighting like 29 or 30 of them, I think. So, if that makes any sense. Had the funniest time with Trickster, went to its area, it killed Vaughn, turned invisible, and then it wandered off. It was literally a drive-by. Yeah, that sounds like a lot of my experiences with Trickster, actually, yeah. It was just like, okay, I'm just gonna walk off. I just killed your party member, but I'm just gonna walk off. Anyway, mission 32 is here, and then there was one. I didn't go do mission 29, did I? I walked up here, and then I took this. Okay, well, I just realized, I'm like, wait, did we kill the Juggernaut? No, we didn't kill the Juggernaut. Let's go kill the Juggernaut first. What the hell am I doing? I'm thinking, oh yeah, you can take multiple missions at the same time. No, what game am I playing? That's not how this game works. Am I dumb? No, I know what it is. I'm out of practice. I haven't played this game since Sunday, so like, what do I expect is going to happen, right? Nope, you totally didn't fight it. Yeah, no. That's what I thought. We got to go to Tajin's Tower, then we'll come back to the Valis Media, then we'll take Mission 32, and then we'll go fight Amam. Oh, I'll be okay. Eventually, I'll be okay. So... Alright, so here's Tajin's Tower. The Juggernaut is right over there. So let's head that way. And we got a bunch of Deceptisol from doing all the walking for Bhakti. Although I think you get the Deceptisol just for taking, what is it, 5,000 steps? Might even just be seeing Bhakti gets you the Deceptisol. I don't even remember exactly how you get the rewards from him, but... Excuse me. The point is, you get a bunch of Deceptisol from him, and we're going to use a little bit of it in order to take care of a couple of these marks. Some of the ones that we're going to fight are not susceptible to Deceptisol, yeah, to preemptive strikes. But the ones that are, it'll make things a little easier. So probably the game plan here is going to be Fang Saz Vanille. We'll get a preemptive strike. I'll just get... Deep Protect. Probably what I'll do is I'll have like a Comrav Sab thing, so that way I can let Vanille get Deep Protect and D-Shell on him, and we'll just flatten him with the preemptive strike plus the stabilizing of the gauge and just go from there, you know. So. Wow, why am I so tired? Probably stay till the end of the stream and then turn in again. Alright, well, sounds like a plan, Marie. I mean, if you get too tired beforehand, we're just going to do missions after this, and I don't know if we're going to get to... As a matter of fact, no, because we have to explore an entire new area in order to get to Mission 30, so we're probably not going to fight Mission 30 today. I do have a game plan for it, but we'll wait until tomorrow before we fight it, and then we'll just go from there, you know. So... Alright, let's get the other party members out here. So let's get Fang out front, and then, because that way she can launch him. I guess we could play as Saz, but, you know. Yeah, let's do a Com Rav. That's fine. And then, I don't think we need a Synergist this time. I think we can pretty well handle this guy just by getting a preemptive strike on him. So I think I'm just going to do one of those, and we'll just do, like, Com Rav Sab. So Vanille can get all the debuffs on him. We'll start there. And then once we get him on that, I think we'll just, yeah, we'll go with that, and I'll make another aggression. Yeah, so that way we can just switch between that and hopefully get him down. So I think that's all we'll really need, honestly. We really just need Deep Protect and D-Shell on him to make sure that we deal the maximum amount of damage that we can do. Because, I mean, that increases your damage output by, like, almost 90%. It's pretty ridiculous, so I'd rather just be able to do it that way, so... Alright. Took a long nap and guess it didn't help as much as you thought. Oh, yeah, I mean, that's fair. That can happen sometimes with naps. I don't know, I've been feeling pretty good in terms of my energy levels recently, though. Like, do we use a Fortisol? I'm gonna use a Fortisol as well. We've got 4 of them. I'd rather have my Fortisol and Aegisol be even going into the next area. So I'll just use a Fortisol to make this even faster. This guy's gonna get messed up. Let's get the attacks off quick before... Okay, the stagger is too low, but I guess it's not too low at this point, honestly. Alright, let's do this, and just do the same thing. If we can keep him in the air, I'm actually going to like get rid of my stuff so I can keep him in the air for a little longer, because if we can keep him in the air for a little longer, that will actually allow us to maintain the gauge a little bit better, because then I don't have to worry about him steam cleaning in the middle of the fight, you know, so I'll do one more round and then we'll switch to the other aggression. I don't think we'll need it, actually. Well, maybe. No, we won't need it. We got him. And that was 1.4 million HP, just like that. Preemptive strikes are stupid. Yeah, I don't know. I've been feeling pretty good with my energy levels lately. Oh, there's the third Uraninite that we needed, by the way. So now we can make the Gaian rings. Those are pretty simple. I'll show you in a minute once we get to a save point. I did do something different, though, than what I was doing previously. Like, previously, I was taking a supplement. I was taking a multivitamin. It's normally a 4 times a day gummy, but I was only taking 2 a day because I didn't really need the excess, you know what I mean? But instead of that now, I've actually rediscovered the value of cereal. And that's going to sound bizarre, but like bran cereal gives you pretty much all the B vitamins you need for an entire day, like 100% of the daily value that you need from a bowl or like not a bowl. You shouldn't fill it all the way to the top because that's like more than twice the serving size of what you actually need from that bran flake cereal. So like maybe half the bowl, and that's good. At least half of the bowls that we have, and that's good. It's like a cup and a half, and that's plenty for me. But you get like all the B vitamins from this bran cereal. And that was mostly what my multivitamin was giving me was B vitamins. So I said, all right, well, forget the supplement. I'm just going to eat a bowl of cereal a day or half a bowl of cereal a day, and that'll be enough for me. And yeah, no, it's made a pretty big difference. I feel substantially more energetic than I have previously. And to be fair, the box of cereal cost me like $2.50. The supplements, which I had to buy once every 2 months, cost me like $30. So, oh yeah, no, cereal's a great thing. Like I said, I'm rediscovering the value of it. I haven't eaten cereal in years, and now just coming back to it and be like, no, it actually had some good health benefits for me. It's like, yeah, wow, there we go. Still eat it as an adult. It's not just for kids. No, it definitely isn't, and you shouldn't feel like it's just for kids. You know what I mean? Because it has value, and yeah, obviously the value is pretty good. Okay, so we got to get through my favorite fight in the entire game here, so let's just do it this way. I'm going to want to... Actually, maybe not. I was going to say maybe I want to get Fog on the next guy, so I might want to actually have Snow be the party leader. But if we get a preemptive strike on Amam... Why did I go to the Northern High Plain? I need to go to the Valis Media. If we get a preemptive strike on Amam, we won't actually need to get Fog on him because we're just going to launch him anyway. So, yeah, so I'll probably just get the preemptive and launch him, and that'll be enough. There's a specific thing that Amam does that we'll talk about in a minute once we actually go there. But until that point, you know what? I think I know why I went here. It's because there's a save point right nearby. And I wasn't thinking about the save point that's also right in the Valis Media where I can make the Gaian rings. So that's probably what it was. I mean, try to stay away from cornflakes, but you can do Cheerios, and you don't want to eat a ton of the sugary stuff. Yeah, the sugary stuff, you don't really need all that stuff. But Cheerios are really good for you. They've got... what do they have in them that other stuff doesn't? I want to say it's iodine, but I could be wrong about that. Cheerios have a certain... I think vitamin K is also in Cheerios, and that's something that you don't get from a lot of other stuff. Like, unless you eat a lot of broccoli, you don't get a lot of vitamin K usually. But yeah, Cheerios are pretty good for you. They've got... they're like fortified, basically. So, like, they have stuff added into them that wasn't in the grain that they used for them originally. So, it's pretty nice. It's also pretty nice that I'm learning all of this stuff from school, so I can actually like talk about it like I actually know things now, rather than just spouting bullshit like I usually do. So, all right, so let's upgrade these siltstone rings. We're not going to wear these just yet, but we will have a use for them soon enough. So I'm going to upgrade them now all the way up, since we've got all the stuff we need. So siltstone ring, use a uraninite, and that'll upgrade it to a Gaian ring, level 4. So let's do that for all 3 first, I guess, just to get rid of the uraninite. We're going to need 1 more uraninite, but we're going to get that from mission 30 anyway, so I'm not really too worried about it. And I would actually, if you're following along and you're planning on making tier 2 weapons eventually like I am, probably do this first. You probably won't need tier 2 weapons until you... Well, you don't even... I don't think you even need tier 2 weapons, like, for chapters 12 and 13, but... I'm going to have them basically for chapters 12 and 13. I'm not going to have them before that. All the missions that we're going to do with... except for 1. We're going to do 1 with tier 2 weapons, but we'll talk about that one once we get there. So. Oh, you didn't have Gaian rings in this game and you regret it? Yeah, these are actually really good. They're out of all of the resist element stuff, there's no bar earth. I mean, there's no bar arrow either, but most things that have wind in their name actually isn't arrow. If it's arrow guy, yeah, that's arrow, but like most of the time wind damage isn't that but much of a threat. Earth damage, on the other hand, is a big threat. And we'll talk about why when we get a little further here, because I have plans for these rings, you see. And it's not just the gold nuggets that I left behind on the step before this. So, but as far as I'm aware, these are the weird ones, right? Let me look at my notes. Hold on. I've got all the recipes right. Yeah, these are the weird ones in terms of what you need to do for these. So check this out. So this is without having to spend any extra money on anything. You do 4 barbed tails to get the 1.25. You do 4 more barbed tails to get the 1.5. You do 7 more barbed tails. Is this silly enough yet to get 1.75 times? You do 3 more. This gets you a 2 times multiplier. Then you do 7 more. And then after that, did I do that correctly? Let me see. 4, 4, 7, 3, 7, and then 3 superconductors. And that's enough, I believe, to max them out. Yep. Is that silly enough for anybody? This is an Etro's Gate recipe, so like if it seems like I'm doing things arbitrarily, yes, I kind of am. It's because this is what Etro's Gate said to do, to spend the least amount of money on these upgrades. So too many numbers. Yeah, for sure. Just remember 4, 4, 7, 3, 7, 3, I guess. I guess that is a lot of numbers to remember. Never mind. Just do what I do. In order to get all of the bonuses. And I mean, honestly, you could probably just do it by just using the 25 barbed tails, 3 superconductors, and then there's probably just a little bit of experience left over at the end of that, and you could just do that with whatever you have, and that's fine. Like, I'm just doing it this way because I have the recipe on hand, so might as well follow it, right? I mean, I'm in a food preparation course this semester because that's part of the nutrition and dietetics training. So, like, if I'm already going to be following recipes in school, I might as well follow recipes at home too, right? So, all right, use the rest of the barbed tails, and then the last 3 superconductors, and all of our Gaian rings are done. I think I only have one more accessory to do after this one is done. So I guess we'll have a full page of accessories by the time we're done, because, you know, I may not sell the whistle and scarf just because that way we'll have the full page by the time we're done. Excuse me. Actually, there's 2 more accessories I'll do, but one of them I'm not planning on keeping. I'm going to dismantle it, so we'll get there. Not worried about it for now, though. We've got the Gaian rings, so that's the important part. All right, I'm time, if I can find my way. And this was the teleport stone, so I won't be back for you because we can just hitch a ride on the Chocobo to get to the Amam. He's over by Chocobo Lake, if anybody remembers where that was. I mentioned it previously that's where the XIII Stone mission is to unlock Chocobos, but if you don't know where it is, I'll show you where it is on the map in just a minute once we get back to the Archeolt Steppe and we grab a Chocobo. So, alright, mission 32, and then there was one. Fighting an Amam, which is kind of like a Managarm, but a little meaner. Fate is not without a sense of irony, it seems. I am commanded to hunt the Amam that stalks a pond in the steppes' western benchland, just as the rest of my family were once charged to their doom. They are XIII now, and I alone am left to put an end to the abomination's bloody reign. I am coming for you, creature. I will have my revenge. About that. It does make me wonder, though, like, these XIII Stone missions are activating when we come across them, right? Does that mean that this Amam has been ravaging the countryside for 400 years or something, and it's just, like, still around? Are these XIII recent? Like, how does that work, you know? Actually, I think there is a XIII Stone entry in the data log. Maybe I can take a look at that, and we can find out. Again, I'm not asking these questions to rail on the game. I'm asking these questions, hopefully, to find an answer in the data log, so... history and myth, probably. Yeah, here we go. XIII stones. Let's see what it says. The sea who fail their foci become XIII, cursed to wander the wilds in a form of living death. Only after many years and much suffering do they extinguish the last of their strength and cease to roam. So it's been a lot of years, decades, maybe even centuries, since they stopped moving. When this happens, the Seath's remains slowly fossilize, turning into what is known as a Seath stone. However, this transformation does not mark an end to the Seath's regret and sorrow at having failed. Even after having turned to stone, the Seath cry out, imploring other l'Cie to fulfill the focus they could not. And that's a fate worse than death. Like, holy shit, man. But So yeah, you're really screwed in this game no matter what you do. You're either a puppet for all eternity from being turned to crystal and then being called out of it to do something else and apparently being naked while being crystal. Or you get turned into a zombie that skulks around the whole overworld and then eventually what? Oh. Guess the big guy is walking around again. Must be hungry or something. Yeah, everybody has a reaction to Titan walking around now. He wasn't walking around before this, but he's now walking around on the horizon. So you'll see him just wandering because the missions that allow you to access his domain are going to be available once we complete the next few Seathstone missions. So now, what's in his domain? Well, we'll find that out in the next episode. But we're not done yet today, so I'm not going to say that because... I mean, I've already said it, but I'm not going to say it the way I normally say it with all the inflections because that would mean I'd be ending the episode, and we don't need to do that yet. So, we got 15 minutes to almost run into a Gorgonopsid. Small turtle, ow. Watch where you're going, you fool! Trying to run me off the road. Guys are almost as crazy of drivers as some of the people that were on the road today. Good lord, those people wanted to die, I swear to God. Everybody drives in... Cole says it all the time. He's like, everybody drives in New York State like they're trying to kill each other. And honestly, in some days, it feels like he's right. So. Oh, nice. A Millerite nugget. Not bad. Good job, Chocobo. Good job, Quinfucius. Is it right here? It is right here. Cool. So there's 5 more treasures. So this is the second of 5. If we get the 5 treasures total from the couple of other times we're going to be here on the step, we'll get the ribbon. And that's, I think, why I'm just going to hold on to all of the stuff that I've got in the bag, like all the materials that I'm not using. We don't need any of those materials for any of the stuff that I'm actually going to upgrade anymore. But if I can upgrade another ribbon to star level, I can then dismantle it and get some more dew and mycelium to sell. So that's 36,000 more gil into our pockets that we didn't have before. So I figure, you know, why not? It's just more money that we didn't have, so I might as well, you know. Cactuar! Get out of here, Cactuar. Okay, here's the third one. This one's over by the sheep here. Who probably will not bow for me. Oh, never mind. There they go. I was going to say, because I'm going to scare them off with the Chocobo, but we heard them before I scared them off, so. Yeah, watch where you're going, you fool! Courage the Cowardly Dog, please. That's it. Yep, that's the reference. We got it. Oh, that Seathstone's active now. I don't remember which mission that is, but... Usually the random Seathstones that are just kind of out in the middle of nowhere like this, that don't really have anything that, like, connection to other missions, they're usually a Zernitra, which is an upgraded Amphisbena. It inflicts a lot of damage. It's pretty tough, but you can kind of handle it the same way as another Amphisbena. It's just, you know, have a Sentinel for feeding stoop, and just obviously be a little careful about when you stagger it, that you still have a Sentinel handy in case it feeding stoops, so that it doesn't just instantly murder you. So, alright, so there's the Ammam. I'm just going to use another Deceptisol. It's just easier, you know? So, and what are we in? Relentless Assault? Yeah, yeah, let's just stick with that. I'm sure it'll work. It's a preemptive strike. Like, if it doesn't work, then what the hell is happening, you know? I think he's immune to electricity, so I'm just going to not do that. Yeah, like, look at the damage we're already doing. The reason, by the way, why you want to keep this guy launched, if possible, is because after a certain amount of HP, usually below 50%, he'll go into Pissy Boss mode, and he'll start spamming Storm Conduction, which heals him. It's the same thing that the Managarms do, except he spams it. And when I mean spam it, it's like he has no charge time on it. He'll just storm conduction, storm conduction, storm conduction, like he's in Mega Man X, and he got the helmet part, and he can just spam weapon attacks with no, actually that's X4, Mega Man X4, and he can just spam specials with no cooldown whatsoever, or no energy cost whatsoever. So that's what he'll do, and that's why you want to kind of try to keep him staggered if you can, and launched preferably, because then he'll never get a chance to do that. So yeah, preemptive strike is a good idea there. We have 10 Deceptisol, and I don't really see myself using all of it by the end of the game, so we might as well use it, you know? Put it to something productive. Alright, Chocobo, we're headed to the northeastern corner, so we can start working on the other 1, 2, 3, 4 missions that we've got to do. And at this point, with the Gaian rings, by the way, we could probably also take on the Adamantulids here on the steppe, but I'm thinking I'll do that next time, because one of the missions we actually have to go do is an Adamantulid, so it'd probably be better to just show you how to fight them when we fight them for the mission, and then we can just fight the other ones once we're done with that, you know? So, not that guy, though. We're not fighting him yet. Am I crazy enough to fight the giant 100-foot-tall dinosaurs on the steppe? You don't even have to find that out next time. The answer is yes. I mean, you think about the fact I made the high 80s magnums. Now, why do you suppose I made the high 80s magnums? Why do you suppose I made these tier 2 weapons that have more attack power on them than the tier 3 equivalent? Like, by the way, here's the thing. I looked into maybe making the high 80s magnums into Saz's tier 3 weapon, the Total Eclipses, because I was like, okay, it probably gives him like a little bit more strength, right? Well, here's the problem. When you upgrade the tier 2 high 80s magnums into the tier 3 Total Eclipses, it reduces their attack power by like 700 points, and then it only increases it by a total of 10 more attack power, or 10 more strength bonus rather, than what the high 80s magnums have at their absolute maximum tier 2. So it's not even remotely worth it to upgrade that to tier 3. It does everything it could possibly do except a very small amount at tier 2 already. So if you have a trapezohedron, don't waste it on the high 80s magnums. They do what they need to do at tier 2 star level already, so just don't waste it on that. Use it on something else that's a far better weapon, you know? So that's getting ahead of ourselves, though. We don't have access to a trapezohedron just yet, so yeah, a little ahead of ourselves, but that's okay. Just in case anybody's at that point yet. Like maybe you played a little ahead and you got to a mission where you can get a trapezohedron, which is not unfeasible. That's coming up soon. So, also, we can look at Seath Stones from Chocobo back, so I'm just going to do that right here to get Mission 30, Syphax the Insidious. I mean, the X3 helmet, though. Yeah, that's true. I think the X3 helmet also has that effect, yeah. So, I was just thinking X4 because I was like, yeah, no, I know where that one is. I know it's in Cyber Peacock's stage, so I forgot about the X3 helmet, honestly. That's not good. That's sad. I said such good things about X3, and I forgot about it after that. That's unfortunate. Anyway, as you can see, Syphax is in Mahabara, but he's in an abandoned dig. So we'll talk about that in a second. The undying, fearsome Seath who defy fal'Cie will, driven by an intense loathing for all that lives. Syphax the Insidious is of their number, a number that I am tasked with bringing low. My mark dwells in the abandoned dig Seath lair, deep within the bowels of Mahabara. He's a treacherous foe, to be sure, but one I must overcome if I am to see my crystallized beloved again. Something tells me that's not going to happen, man. Sorry to say it. But this mission doesn't give you a direct hint, kind of like the other Undying have so far, although Mithridates was a little cryptic as well, but it's like, okay, it's in Mahabara, but I didn't see an abandoned dig when I went to Mahabara. Where could that be? Well, you have to kind of ask yourself, okay, so why would miners abandon a dig site? Is it because they ran out of resources to mine? Or is it because of the fact that they got cut off from their access point to that dig because Atomos is rolling around all over the place? And no matter how you think about Mahabara, Atomos is kind of the key here, right? Because Atomos is kind of wandering around all over the place, rolling around all over the place in Mahabara, and Atomos is our ticket inside of the abandoned dig. So we have to go back to Solia Springs, actually. Instead of going back to Mahabara itself, we're going to go to Solia Springs, and we're going to hitch a ride on Atomos, because with this mission in your inventory, Atomos will take you to a new destination. So we're going to go to that new destination, and we're going to take care of business over there. There's another mission, by the way, that you can take inside of the Abandoned Dig section of Mahabara. I think it's mission 53, I want to say, which is another Zernitra, believe it or not. But I'm not going to take that one. I'm going to show you how to get to it, but I'm not going to take it. It's not really something that I care about too much. I'm not even sure if I'm going to show, like, fight the enemy that you have to fight in order to unlock it, because it's kind of like with the Juggernaut mission there, where you have to, like, fight an enemy inside of a little, like, area in order to unlock it. But I'm not sure if I'm going to fight them yet or not. I'm going to figure that out by tomorrow. Where am I going? Am I going back to Northern High Plain? I'm just going to go to the Central Expanse one. I think that's a little easier to get access to. I kind of already wandered halfway away from it, but that's okay. Pardon me, Chocobo. I'm just going to the teleport point so we can go back to Solia Springs in case anyone's wondering where the hell I'm going. Kind of meandering around a little bit, but that's okay. I mean, I gotta, in this particular case, I don't want to get eaten by a Behemoth King. Although Behemoth Kings don't knock you off the Chocobo immediately like the Adamantoises do. They're just 1 point, so... Oh, meant that it just shows you where stuff is? I wish it did anything else. Oh, that's what that does. That's why I forgot about it, because it has such a forgettable bonus power on it. That explains everything. Is it worth it for me to go any further than the first save point in here? I don't think so, because I think by the time we get Atomos to take us where we're going, it's going to be like 9:58 on my clock over there, and that's about close enough. The plan today was basically to get to the save point that's near the end of the Abandoned Dig. We didn't get there because I was just expositing on the data log, but it shouldn't take too long for us to get to the point where we're there, like probably in the first 25 minutes or so of the next stream, and we should be good. So... But yeah, notice how the destination marker is on Atomos itself over here. That happens for any marks that are in Mahabara or in the Archaeot Steppe if you come here first, but in this particular case, it's actually a hint as to where you're supposed to go. So let's board Atomos. And again, make sure when you do this, you have Mission 30 in your inventory, because if not, he'll just take you back to where you first entered Atomos back in Mahabara, like when you were there originally. Excuse me. But with this mission in your inventory... As you'll see in a second, he'll take you to someplace else. See, that was our original stopping point right there. But he flew right past it. He's rolling around at the speed of sound all the way through the dig. Well, the regular dig site, the places we've already walked. And once you're done with that, he'll take you all the way over to this spot. Remember that broken bridge that we couldn't jump across previously in over near where the teleport stone was? Yeah, so there's the teleport stone right there. Here's the broken bridge. And now Atomos kind of serves as the bridge, basically. So, like, if you want to go back this way and teleport away after you're done with all your business here, you don't have to re-enter Atomos. He'll just kind of hang out here. And he'll go back to Solia Springs if you don't, like, if you leave him here and you teleport away. But you can actually cross the bridge and use the teleport stone if you so choose. So that's pretty nice. Either way, Snow has the idea here. We want to look around for a bit, but I get the feeling that the things that we'll find here will give us a few little nightmares, possibly, maybe, on the next episode of Final Fantasy XIII, the Stream Edition, which will be happening tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And like I said, we'll probably get all the missions done by tomorrow as well, because we've got mission 30, 31, 33, and 34 to do. And once we're done with those, I'm going to make the tier 2 weapons, and I'm going to show off a bonus fight. And once we're done with the bonus fight, we'll head back to Erba, and we'll get ready to start confronting Chapter 12, because at that point we'll have basically everything that we need in order to complete the game, and we'll just move right along. if everything goes according to plan, we should be done with this game by the end of next week. So like next Saturday, I think, will be our target to finish the game. If we don't get it done then, that's fine. It's probably more advantageous, honestly, because then I don't have to like do a setup stream in the middle of next week, but we'll figure it out as we go. I'm not really too concerned about it, and we'll just make it all work. In the meantime, thank you for watching, everybody. I appreciate you coming out to Twitch and YouTube to check out the stream. And I'll see all of you on the next one, which, as I said, will be tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, everybody, take care and have a good one. Alright. What kind of ritual bullshit have I stumbled upon here?
Not what I wanted.
Yeah, me neither, Hope. What the hell?